What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Season Gaming Bitcast, episode 304. It is a fine Sunday happening right now as we speak. And we're going to be talking about a lot of things today, including everything you can expect at Gamescom, which starts here in just 2 days as we're talking today, or maybe as you're listening to this. So it's going to be a good show. We've got the usual cast of characters back with us, starting with the Lawman, Mr. Hogue Law. How we doing, my friend?
Good morning. Just for the record, I'm not in charge of the laws. So anything you have a problem with on the legal side, probably not my fault.
Okay. We'll put his email in the description. Anything you have complaints with, please reach out. He's happy to offer free advice. It's great. It's a great service.
He doesn't make the laws. He just supports all the bad ones, which you can watch in his YouTube series. Hogue Law.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
We're off early. Yeah, we're starting right away. Mr. Travis, the tie guy himself. I'm going to reverse it this week. How we doing, my friend?
Travis Clunky. Doing great. I am Travis the tie guy. That's an acceptable way to say my handle.
You know, got to reverse it a little bit.
Take it. Doing good, man. It's been a busy couple weeks, and I'm looking forward to getting back into my normal flow of life, which I assume will begin Tuesday for Concord review. Is that what we're doing, boys?
Yeah, we playing Tuesday night. Hell yeah,
Concord.
Let's do it.
Tuesday night, boys.
Yeah, I'll be in another city playing on hotel Wi-Fi, but I will do it.
We'll just have Travis glitch around the map. Really annoy some people.
It's a really good experience. No, I'll find some way to play. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, depending on where you are, of course. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about Gamescom. Mostly we're going to run down the whole schedule of all the events, the times of them, what games you can expect to see, just kind of get you prepared for that. I was hoping to be out there this year, but I had other travel. Obviously, we had Travis's wedding. I'm actually away in a couple weeks, so couldn't make it out there. Some of the people, including John, who was with us last week, are going to be out there. So it should be a really good time this week. And unlike, typically what E3 used to be, Gamescom is actually during the week. It's like Tuesday through Friday, which is kind of weird and interesting at the same time. But we'll be getting you ready for that. And then obviously we'll come back next week and kind of talk about the biggest announcements and games and everything else.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Sure. Follow-up question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I noticed your body language when you were talking about how you were away at my wedding and then you're going to be away for a couple weeks. When you said I'm actually going to be away for a couple weeks, your eyes averted the camera and you held the lid of your hat like you were Ash Ketchum about to choose his next Pokemon, and that to me signaled that you have something to hide. So I want to know where you're going in a couple weeks.
Travis, the body language expert.
Yeah, I don't know. That's you'd lose all your money at poker right now because I've already told everyone I'll be in Colorado in a couple weeks. This is not a secret. Just going to Colorado, family trip.
Going to Colorado. What are you doing there? Maybe
I can't tell you.
Oh, see, I was on it. I was on it, guys.
No, in all seriousness, I'm very fortunate. One of the people I work with has a beautiful cabin on Grand Lake, which is the biggest natural lake, I believe, in Colorado. Someone can correct me who lives there. But it's absolutely beautiful. And they allow people who know them to obviously rent it for a week for cheap, basically. So taking the family out, it's beautiful. Okay. Yeah, and the guys on Nerd,
but I appreciate the transparency.
The guys over at Nerd Chat, one of the shows I talk to a lot. Those guys, they actually live right over there too, so I'm going to get to meet them for the first time, which is cool. So it'd be good. But anyway, a couple things before we get started here. So one to shout out our audio listeners and the site as well, real quick. So I've mentioned to these guys behind the scenes that our audio listener count has kind of been increasing week over week, month over month. And this past week was the highest I've seen, I think maybe ever. Another 42% up in the last month, which is kind of crazy. So I don't know what's happening. I don't know why we have so many new audio listeners, but welcome. Thank you for hanging out with us. Hey, if it's bots, I love you, bots. Well done. Thank you.
Doesn't have to be bots. It just has to be people that don't like the way we look. Come on.
Okay.
That's probably a more accurate. Yeah.
But they like my voice. That's the worst part of me. Yeah. Come on, dude. No way.
So thank you for that. And the site as well on the SG side has been really strong. Someone suggested that it could be that other sites, like GI going away and stuff like that. Who knows? I don't know. But again, just thank you for people swinging by. It's
picking up folks that lost their podcast. That's
apparently, yeah, it's not a thing to cheer for, but it's interesting if nothing else. My wedding review of Travis's wedding is in progress. It's not ready. So hope to be back next week with that. I'm a little behind this week, so bear with me. But yeah, it's in the works.
I cannot wait for D to see the review.
There's 2,000 words on the dress and the bride, so it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Oh God!
Very hypercritical review of her specifically. That's what she needs. Yeah.
We all know that would not happen. We're gonna hopefully one day trade Travis for D on the show. You know what I mean? We'll be better.
Yeah. Honestly, she would crush it.
The only review that would even be in question would be Judgment, right? Like,
I think that
Travis. What were you thinking?
That was every speech, for the groomsmen and the bridesmaids at the reception. Every speech was, we don't know why she's doing this, but good for Travis. Oh, it's like every speech. Ames, verify. Was this not the? That was
there was a lot of poking fun at Travis, but I think it was out of long-term love of Travis. So he underplays it a little bit, but it was quite funny. Regardless, let's get over and get our super chats out of the way here. Our early ones. Kicking us off, of course, is the Google Man himself.
Googleman. Should I read it in Jewish accent?
Yeah, that's your role here. Come on, this is what you're doing.
10 euros. Wondering how groovy and hip it would be. No, just kidding. Wondering how groovy and hip it would be to purchase a cashmere hoodie for the sole purpose of wearing it while gaming. Is Natto good gamer grub?
A cashmere hoodie? Do they make cashmere hoodies?
Cashmere is too delicate. I can't take care of it, so it's beyond me.
Too needy of a material, you're saying?
Too needy of a material, yeah.
Yeah. I wore a cashmere tuxedo at my wedding.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, it was a cashmere blend. It was. It was very expensive. I have
anyway, what the hell is Natto? What's Natto?
Is Natto good gamer grub? I don't know. It's a good question. Let's Google it.
All right.
Hey, he is Google Man. Let's Google the Google Man.
All right.
Oh, okay.
His super chats are just designed to make you Google things.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
It's a traditional Japanese food made from soybeans. Now having seen this, I realize that I have watched D eat this several times while gaming. So I'm going to go ahead and say good gamer grub, just based on that. Looks like it's a little high in fat. D, get in here. See, she really would be a better guest. Yeah, I would say this is good gamer grub. Well, beans are healthy. Go for it, man. Watch the rice. Rice is a killer.
Very true. Yeah, let me your rice. All right, Googleman, thank you for kicking us off as always. Appreciate you, my friend. Don
Lionheart, the lion-hearted man himself. $5. No better way to literally just wake up than a Bitcast super chat. Good morning, all. Dragon Age looks so good. Rook's coffer ed and art book equal pre-ordered.
Nice. Yes, Don is very yes, he is the Dragon Age lover. He also wrote that article about all the crazy reveals and trailers of Dragon Age that we have on the site. But he is very excited after this week. We will be talking about Dragon Age later on in the show. And he has the Rook's Coffer edition, by the way, is the collector's edition, essentially, for DA The Veilguard. So
nice. Is that one of those editions that doesn't have the game?
Yeah, so you can get that. There's 2 editions that have all these collectibles or without the game. By the way, I will continue to preach. That's the better way to do it.
I agree.
It is absolutely the better way to do it. I don't know why people are still saying it doesn't have the game and acting surprised. Like, there's so many different ways to buy the game and so many different platforms today. Buy your collectibles and then buy the game however you want. Like,
I do think from a language perspective, we could probably use a better way to describe the box of random goodies than edition of the game title.
That's my problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Why call it the game? The game isn't included. You should just say it's a box of trash you'll fill up a landfill with.
It's the Dragon Age Veilguard support box.
And I think a lot of them do. There's another edition which we have on the site somewhere. I forget what it's called. It's got some unique name, but it's the same thing. It's not called the edition. It's just called like this Dragon Age blah, which is like, collectibles for it.
Box of treasures. Yeah. And I agree with Ains on this because I like to get my games digitally and I don't want to pay for an extra copy of a game I don't want to use that way.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And me, I prefer physical, and a lot of them come with digital, or like if you play on PC, you can usually get a PC copy cheaper somewhere else. You know what I mean? There's just a lot of different ways you can buy your games. So, yeah.
Now, I'm not in the same business of buying dragon statues or whatever's in this that you are, Ains, but
I actually skipped this one, but
okay. What was your thought process there? What is in this and why did you skip it?
It is more specific collectibles to like items in the game, and I'm not a huge I like DA a lot, but I'm not that type of DA fan. So I skip those nowadays, honestly.
Okay.
Yep. Don, thank you very much. Vintage Willow back with 5 season gaming memberships. Willow, very good to see you. Thank you so much. Appreciate the generosity. Hope you've been well. Alex with a member comment.
Alexandro Segovia.
This is Alex.
Alejandro. I'm just kidding. Hey, Alex, what's up? He is a member for 9 months, and he says to us, excited for us to finally start getting a cadre of game releases to distract us from the perpetual nonsense from this year. Long summer.
Yes.
What's the perpetual nonsense?
I don't want to get into the details of it. Alex lives, he doesn't live in the US. He lives in a country that has sincerely crazy stuff going on. His
democracy is gone. That's unfortunate.
His democracy is gone. He also just moved, so he's been going through it. But he is excited about the games. He is reviewing Star Wars Outlaws for us. So he's, as he said, excited to focus on some positivity.
He's going to focus on a different universe with an oppressive government regime in power.
Pretty much. Yeah. Amazing people still don't make that connection after 40, 50 years, but here we are. Katie Cotton. Alex, thank you.
Katie Cotton has been a member for 23 months. Thank you, Rick. Wow. I had a sudden blinding headache this week. Checked my BP and was way too high. I've been checked and am fine, but I will be eyeballs it more.
I'm glad to hear it, Katie. I am so sorry that you have to go through any of that. It all sucks. But I'm glad that you caught it before it became something that really, really sucks. So if I help contribute to them finding that and you finding that early, I'm very happy to hear it, but I'm sorry that you have to go through it.
100%. Take care of yourself out there. Katie, thank you. The Book of Dark.
The Book of Dark offers 2 Australian bucks, which are like real dollars, but not. Your amount and message will be public.
I gotta believe that's a slipped button there.
Either that or they're just trying to be funny because it tells you that. Yeah, either or. Book of Dark, if you actually meant to type something else, just put it in the chat and I'll read it. Because I don't want you to have to super chat again, but thank you.
But if it was a joke, nailed it.
Nailed it.
Good job. Crazy by Proxy has been a member for 19 months and says, good morning, all. No punctuation. All.
Thank you, Crazy by Proxy. Don follows up.
Lionheart has another $2 to give me. And he says, GameStop had a bundle with the game. $220 easier. I don't know. $220 doesn't sound easy to me.
I think he means that the box without the game came with a copy of the game, and so that was easy to think about.
Yeah, they just add a game to the box and add $70. I mean, yeah, that's it
for sure.
Don, thank you again, and Ray.
Sardinisms has been a member for 9 months and writes, I wanted it noted for the record that I have been a member way longer than 9 months. My YouTube account broke and I had to reset my membership. I don't know that a YouTube account can break. I want to hear what happened.
Oh my gosh.
Believe me, a YouTube account can break.
YouTube don't go out with that stance, Travis.
Explain me. I believe people break things, not
Well, yes, the people at YouTube.
What did they break? How does your
Yeah,
account break?
when you have multiple Google accounts and you have to tie them separately to YouTube in different ways, it can get very convoluted. I've had a lot of issues with that.
Sounds like a user error to me.
It is
Well,
absolutely
you know,
not.
when it's set up to be ultra complicated for no good reason, that's design error that causes user error.
Actually,
Sounds like a misplacement of blame.
Okay. Well, let it be known, Travis stands for the fact that YouTube is designed and operated perfectly.
Not what I said, but I accept your straw man, you little greedy little goblin. You bottom row goblin, you.
You were on the bottom row with me not 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, well, those days are long gone. I'm a better man now.
Move it on up. Well, that's all right, because at the end of the day, we are all just monkeys around here, according to Against the Tide, who made us NFTs this week.
Nice.
I gotta believe this is a Wukong reference, right? Is that
Guys,
that mean right?
She also joked that she was making us NFTs.
I think it finally happened. I finally am the best looking monkey. Like I crushed it this week. I look great. I look educated. My glasses
Looks pretty good.
are well done. I don't even mind being a ginger because it makes me look like an orangutan, which, as we all know, are the coolest monkey. So I'm into this. This is sick.
It's pretty good. I like Hoag's crocheted sweater vest.
You guys see that YouTube video of an orangutan driving a golf cart around the zoo? He's just
yeah. You should remember we were joking about it when we were in San Fran. We were watching.
That is such a good video. If you're watching
look like
this
the
video,
school guidance counselor for the monkeys.
You really do.
You do.
You look too polite to even be like a Planet of the Apes monkey, because they still have a little bit of like roughness to them. You look like maybe you were a human and then you became a monkey instead of becoming a monkey that became a human. So very polite.
By the way, what is on my chest?
I think that's a gold medallion.
Yep. I think it is some bling.
Okay.
It's kind of cool.
Still got my headset as always.
Hoag, I believe you're wearing your feared cashmere in this photo. I think that might be a cashmere sweater. I don't know.
I got a photo.
Also, Ames, your coat is that paisley?
It is. I'm bringing it back.
I've ever seen you wear a paisley jacket like that. Where did they get that from? I'm wondering.
Yeah. Well,
you own anything like that?
Don't worry about it. I don't show everything I wear online. You know what I mean?
You look cool, man. little Voldemort monkey there.
I like to think the AI is going through the photos stored on his phone as well as his Facebook or whatever.
That's how I look at work right there. They spelled Seasoned Gaming right again too. Amazing. AI, they're killing it out there.
Oh yeah. Honestly, this is maybe my favorite AI photo. I think we all look pretty good as monkeys. You can definitely see how they got there. I still don't understand why I'm a ginger on every photo, but I get it.
It's good stuff. All right. Thank you, everyone, for kicking us off. So why don't we talk about what we're currently playing, what's been going on? I'm sure we've got some Hoag's notes to get to. But Travis, I'm gonna start with you this week because I know that there were certain things you were playing, certain things that you hadn't been able to talk about. But more importantly, of course, I want to start with the fact that on my friends list, I have been kind of peeking, to see what's going on out in the world. And I have seen a Thai guy, Travis, on a little game all week called Elden Ring. You might have heard of it.
Yeah, I'm very far in the Elden Ring expansion now. Just running around killing stuff. So this is one, as you know, I did not have time for, and now I've got a little bit of time, and it's pretty much at the top of my list. So I'm working my way through it. I helped a guy get a little bundle of fingers as a baby. That was weird.
Got to do that. Yeah.
Got to help a little boy. Here's the thing, Hoag. I showed up. His castle was looking pretty dour. He was not very happy. And all he wanted was me to give him a little boy. I gave him a boy. Now he's holding little fingers in his hands. And he's like, look at my little boy. And he's very nice to me now. I am absolutely certain that's going to change because every Souls-like storyline is creepy guy becomes happy and then murders everyone. So I'm just waiting for that other shoe to drop. But it's right now we're happy. We have fingers as children. It's a good way to live.
I'm glad it's going well.
It's going well so far. This will change, but right now I'm in the good part of every Souls game, where things are not sad yet. Good game. Travis just spoiled the Souls verse. Yeah, kinda. Sorry, that's how every single game works. Always. Yeah, I've been playing that a bunch. Super fun. I don't know that I've gotten to any really challenging boss fights yet. I fought maybe the most challenging one was like the dragon thing that you fight that has all the elements. Little Chinese dragon guy. I don't know what you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, don't look at me. Yeah.
Not at the moment. I would if I saw a
the
picture.
dancing boy. He flies in the air and he does electricity and then frost and then wind, and he's kind of like a Avatar the Last.
Oh, yeah. He's
Yeah.
the first like mainline boss of the expansion. Yes.
I killed him. I'm trying to remember if there's anybody else I fought. Oh, I fought the knight with the two swords. That one is magic and one is flame.
Okay, Renala.
That was pretty
not
easy.
Renala. Something like that.
Yeah.
That's the one I completely missed and did at the end. Like you don't have. She's the second mainline boss, and somehow I went around it, and like everyone was posting about her, and I'm like, who is this? I haven't seen her, and I
remember those videos.
Yeah, I went back and fought her at the end. So she's the second mainline boss, which means your next battle should be Mesmir, he's considered the first kind of challenge. I know some people had problem with the double sword knight. It's not Renala, I forget her name.
Okay.
But Mesmir's a big one. But the only one I struggled with was, which most people did, is the end one.
The end one, yeah, that's what I hear. So I've luckily I've not been spoiled on anything, and I didn't have time to pay attention to it when everybody was posting about it, and now that nobody's posting about it, I'm kind of just like exploring for myself. But been very cool.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Rolana yet, but
Rolana is the dual knights.
Okay, yeah. So I killed her a while ago. So if she's far in the past, so I must be close to whatever the next boss is in some way. I'm trying to explore everything. I'm doing all. So one thing I have a problem with about this expansion is that it kind of takes away a lot of the freedom you have with the main expansion, because if you try going in any direction as far as you can go, you will hit a barrier at some point. You'll hit something where it's like, no, you can't go further. You got to turn around and go explore somewhere else, which keeps happening to me. Like I keep hitting, Dancing Lion, there's like a barrier and they're like, no, go somewhere else. And then it just kept happening where I was finding things and then being like, oh, I guess I can't proceed yet, and then I would go back and fight something and be like, okay, now it'll let me advance in that area. So it does feel a little more shoehorned than I felt in the main campaign. But yeah,
there are several main areas in that game that you get to from very secluded paths too. So it's very easy to miss like a major area of the expansion, more so than the main game. I think the artistic direction and the way they're presented is even better than the main game, but the pathing is a little strange sometimes. But yeah, what was I also going to say? Have you made it to the Black Castle yet?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Black Castle is where you'll fight the next main boss eventually. Did you make it to the Bloodborne area yet?
Is that the one where you fall down a hole first and then you're in like a town? I think so.
Oh, I know where you are. Not really. No.
That's okay. Different. I got through that area a while ago. I'm trying to remember where I'm at now. After I helped Finger Boy get his fingered baby, I went off somewhere else. I can't really remember because I've been playing some other like smaller games. But yeah, I'm gonna get back to that today. Today I'm seeing Alien Romulus. By the way, have you guys seen it?
I was supposed to see it yesterday morning, but my wife got sick on Friday.
No.
Yeah, we thought it was COVID, so we just stayed home yesterday. So
okay,
I have not.
Get well soon, wife of Ains, who I now call friend.
Yes, yeah, I don't use her name much, but yeah,
I didn't use it out of respect. I'll just call her D. D. Get well soon. Get well soon, D.
But yeah, let me know how what you think of it when you're done it. Obviously, I loved it, but yeah, there's some really hidden stuff. So make sure you see everything because they developed that alongside the main game. It's been in development since before Elden Ring launched, so there's a lot of key things in it that tie to the main storyline and the lore, which is just incredible.
One of my complaints early on was I didn't like the fragments you have to find that make you and your summons better.
Mhm.
Just, I mean, the summons doesn't really matter to me because I usually am the summon if I'm playing multiplayer, but just the idea that you have to go find those because it feels like it was sort of a salve for just not balancing the game right. It's like, oh, we're just gonna make things arbitrarily hard until you find them all. But I will say the way I play hasn't really affected me much because I feel like I've always been ahead of the fragment game. Like I always feel like I have a higher level than maybe I'm supposed to, just because I'm going into every nook and cranny I can find. So I think that complaint hasn't really impacted me as much. So yeah, I'm having a good time with it. The fights feel fair by the time I get to them. I've not yet gotten to a fight and been like, damn, seems like I wasn't supposed to do this until I found more skidoo tree fragments or whatever. That hasn't really happened to me. Yeah, we got to get those skidoos, as I know Hogue likes to call them.
Someone also pointed out, so we did a roundtable on our channel of this, a couple months ago now or whenever it was. And someone pointed out in a comment, which made sense too, is like the main reason they did that, right, is because the expansion had so much loot and build quality, like build possibilities to the core game as well. So like you can go into the Realm of Shadow, get those new weapon types, get the new armor, get all those things, and then go immediately back to the main game. And so the way they separated out that progressional difficulty is that way. Otherwise, you could just go in, come back, you know what I mean, and destroy everything. That's why it's segregated a little bit from a power perspective. So.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't really found anything in the new expansion that made me feel like I should get rid of my current build. I'm using the same sword I was using when I beat the campaign, and
and you can.
Fine.
You can. Yeah. I switch mine later on in the expansion.
Is there major stuff you think that'll get me to switch? I'm a faith, intelligence, a little bit of strength guy. Okay. So I'm using the Sword of Ice and Fire, I think it is, the one that does flame and magic damage, and I've got really high int and really high faith. And then I use faith miracles. Are they still called miracles in Elden Ring?
They're called
they're just spells, I think.
No, because there's glintstone sorcery, which is the intelligence scaling, right? And then there's faith-based sorcery, but it's
not miracles anymore.
Incantations.
Incantations. Yeah, I don't even bother learning the new terminology because I know it's just going to get replaced in the next game. So I honestly, it took me like maybe 20 hours of playing the Elden Ring expansion to remember that they're not souls, they're runes. I forgot that
everyone still calls them souls. Yeah,
that's crazy.
So
incantations. Thank you, chat, for knowing what I've been doing. Incantations BOP, by the way. Incantations are great.
There's tons of stuff in the game that can make you OP. Again, it's like we always say, it's like the game is as hard as you make it.
That's what she said.
It does. Well, it gives you a million. We've talked about this, Hogue. It gives you so many ways to conquer the challenges.
I think you have to hit certain thresholds of competency first. Or
you could just play as a magic user.
That drive people away. And I didn't know Travis was playing Elden Ring, so I was not prepared this morning for Travis coming into the show with, this thing that everybody says is super hard. I really haven't found any of it hard yet.
I
just wasn't prepared.
Apparently, I'm still early, so yeah.
I'm glad you're having fun with it. I'm glad Ains loved it. I try Elden Ring every 6 months or so. Bounce out of it pretty fast because I don't like that kind of slow advancement in mud feeling to a video game. So I'm glad you guys love it.
Yeah, I don't get offended about dying. So when I say that it's not super hard, I mean that I'm dying. Like Rolana killed me maybe like 6 or 7 times, and they were all very embarrassing deaths. When her heat up, when she goes full flame on, and you're like, oh man, I was not ready for giant pillars of fire everywhere. But the thing about the Souls-like genre is that death is not something that should offend you or make you feel like you're bad at the game. It's just a part of the genre. And so
correct.
When Rolana kills me
all the time.
If Rolana killed me 50 times, then I'd probably be like, okay, this is actually kind of hard. But if she kills me 10, 15 times. That's usually within the margin of like normal Souls-like gameplay. And so if you simply don't like dying 15 times, then you kind of don't like the genre. But I don't think that makes you a bad player if you die a ton. That's just what you have to die to learn the moves and to know how to counter the boss. You just have to die a lot.
It's part of the game. Yeah, I tell people right away when they're getting into it, like, forget about your, like, so many other games now, like dying is almost gone, or you can save every 2 seconds, right? So dying doesn't matter. And it's like dying is part of these games, as you just said. You die
I will say though,
learn it.
Elden Ring might be the Souls-like that I die the least outside of boss fights, and I think that's kind of a problem. Like the fact that you can just steamroll through every area, especially in the expansion, you can steamroll it on your horse. Like you play so much of this expansion on your horse, and then you don't really experience the difficulty spike until you get to a boss. And I kind of had that problem with Lies of P too, where the game was just like dumb easy until you got to a boss fight, and so it feels like the game doesn't really train you for the level of difficulty you're about to experience when you get into a boss. I think Elden Ring kind of has the same problem. Like the areas leading up to boss fights are never really a problem. You're kind of just blowing through it, and then you get to the boss fight, like, oh damn, now I got to put on my sweatband. You know, it's kind of
I think that might be, to Hoag's point, more you, because trust me, I know a lot of people that think the enemies in the expansion hit extremely hard.
Really?
They definitely hit harder than the main game. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Yeah. Maybe I'm a 1%er. Check my privilege.
Let me know when you get to Mesmer, though. He's one of the best designed bosses I think From has ever done. It's absolutely
he's the castle boy.
Yes.
Yeah. So I went.
He's the cover art.
I went to the castle, and then I thought, this looks like the correct way to be going. So I pieced out of there. Went the other direction.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Cool. What else you got going on? Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah. I want to talk about Visions of Mana.
Yeah.
I actually need to check if the embargo on this is lifted, but I do know that I can say that I got a copy of the game. So I'm not reviewing Visions of Mana, but a friend of mine gave me an early copy of the game as a wedding gift, and so I immediately booted that up and played like 40 hours. So I've played a lot of Visions of Mana on PC. And that's basically all I can say without knowing if the embargo was lifted. So let me check that real quick.
Did they make you agree to an embargo as part of a wedding gift?
No, but just, if a friend in the industry gives you a code and there is an embargo, you follow it out of respect. We kind of touched on this a little bit this week with the various things that The Verge may have done. But as you well know, Hoag, embargoes are not all about getting sued because you didn't follow them. They're about the outlet actually trusting you and building a relationship.
That was the tweet I put out on Mr. Warren, and I like The Verge. I like Tom Warren a lot of the time. But yeah, it's not about there being a legal obligation in respect of the what is the name of Valve's game?
I don't remember. Yeah,
I don't remember either. It's like Breakpoint or something.
Breakdance, I think is what it was called. Yeah, Deadlock. Thank you. That was it.
Thank you, chat. Deadlock. Yes, compound words. The video game industry loves them.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I tweeted something similar like right before you tweeted it, but we can talk about that if you want. But so yeah, it looks like the embargo is August 27. So I can't really say much about it except that I can say preview stuff. Okay. Please stay at the beginning of your opportunity. Okay, great.
Sorry, Travis is reading it live, folks. Let's be on audio. He's figuring out what he's allowed to say.
I cannot discuss the very start of the game, but I can discuss. Okay, well, I'm not going to do that.
I can't discuss the very start for a JRPG. Well, I already know what happens in that one.
Yep. Okay, so I can talk loosely about this. That I think Visions of Mana is okay. It's good. It's got a lot of classic RPG stuff. It has some stuff that apparently I'm not allowed to talk about, but it has some stuff that I like less. It is legitimately difficult also, especially in the late game when you start getting into some pretty crazy boss fights. Maybe there's a better way to grind it that I was not privy to, but like there's encounters where you'll die in like 2 or 3 hits against like a big boss that has crazy attacks, and so it gets pretty legit challenging. but I was having fun with it. I did not finish it, and I probably won't because I moved on other stuff. But right after my wedding, when I was given a copy of this game, I played a bunch of it, and it was fun game.
All right, Square Enix, your box quote is that the guy that doesn't find Elden Ring difficult finds Visions of Mana difficult. Come on, Souls players, Visions of Mana.
Keep in mind, Souls-like games, I accept that I'm supposed to die, but when you play Visions of Mana and you die, it's very clear you were not supposed to. So they have very different bars of like difficulty, right? If you die in a JRPG, it's usually more annoying than it is informative or instructive.
From Square Enix, yeah, they'll make you watch a 20-minute cutscene every damn time.
Exactly. So that's my point. Is they're very different bars. I did not die in Visions of Mana more than I died in Elden Ring, but Elden Ring, you can tell that that's kind of the game design, and Visions of Mana, I think it's also the game design, but I don't think that you dying is supposed to happen in the same.
Well, I talked about the demo last week, and I did not enjoy the demo, but I do like Mana as a series. I think they've nailed it in the art for 3D Mana, what I would want a Secret of Mana to look like nowadays. But I'm not sure whether I'll like it or not.
Also, the voice acting and the like retreading of the same conversations over and over again that annoys me in every JRPG is actually kind of less of a problem in Visions. I haven't been as like offended by it.
It's funny. One of the things I hated about the demo was the voice acting.
I don't know. It hasn't bothered me too much. I mean, I didn't play the demo, so I don't know what part you played, but
snow. It was group and snow.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is kind of, that's weird that they chose that for the demo. Anyway,
they always there's like two ways that they make their demos, and one of them is to pick a place where they think like the systems of the battle system have been integrated enough that it can show off some of the things that it can do. I always find those demos to be bad because you have to figure out too much stuff on the fly. But in this particular case, there just wasn't a lot of interesting things happening at that point in the game. And yeah, the voice acting, when you just get introduced to it kind of cold, is arch anime accents. Like there's a Southern Belle character. There's all sorts of weird stuff happening with the voice acting. And it doesn't click from moment one in the demo. But there are a lot of demos that have that happen. So I give them a grain of salt. I'll still probably get the game. But yeah, I don't love that demo. And I think last week somebody came into the comments or the super chats and said the demo was fire or whatever. So like reasonable minds can differ.
Yeah. I've had less of a problem. I'll say like a lot of JRPGs lose points for like voice acting or the way the story is told, where there's just a lot of backtracking and retreading of topics. But Visions of Mana moves kind of at a good pace. So sneezed. Sorry. But yeah, I've enjoyed what I have played so far. Okay. And I think I'm probably close to the game and end of the game, but I don't think I'll beat it. So that was fun. What other games have I played? I've been playing a bunch of just like the smaller ones. I play Path of the Goddess.
Yeah.
My nose. Yeah, I've played
Tsugami, a smallish game. It's awesome, and it's long.
Okay. I played that one a little bit. A couple hours. I played, I've been just binging through a bunch of stuff because
all over,
enjoying my freedom before. I think tomorrow we get Concord codes and then
review season.
Back on the review train. So just enjoying it while I can.
For folks who haven't memorized the subtitles, the game I've been talking about, Kunitsugami, is subtitled Path of the Goddess. So when Travis says he's playing Path of the Goddess, he's referring to Kunitsugami.
Yes. As we mentioned before, on Game Pass, Capcom release, very unique game, highly recommended. So
it's going to be one of my favorites of the year. There's no question in my mind.
Love it. I'll go quick, Hogue, just because I've been similar to Travis in a way. We've got all these major releases coming up, review season coming up, and so I've just been kind of vegging out with some multiplayer games. Played a lot more X Defiant, which the more I play it, the more I'm going to recommend it for the shooter fans out there. So if you like competitive multiplayer, it's free to play. It's got cross play. got my other friend Bert, who typically plays Call of Duty as a shooter space and other things, and he's really liked it too. So that's been a lot of fun. I recommend that. I did get my copy of Skull and Bones. I'll be the first one to say it this week.
Hell yeah!
Right.
From Best Buy this week. I have installed it. I have not started it yet. I will at some point. I don't know when, only because, again, we get Concord here shortly, and then all hell breaks loose in terms of release schedule. So, but yeah, $10. Funny enough, Jeff Grubb retweeted my post. He's like, cover art of the year, because if you saw the cover art of the physical box, it's an absolute train wreck of, I don't know what they were trying to do there. It's got the Best Buy logo on it. It's got first day exclusive edition on it. It's got like 3 Series X logos. It's just a mess. I don't know what that's about.
I was surprised that version had the Best Buy logo actually printed on it. That seems a step further than usual.
Yeah.
But
It's a tie-in they're doing with Best Buy. It's Geek Squad, you know.
yeah, you need Best Buy to help install this game on your Xbox.
Yeah,
the Geek
I haven't
Squad
come out.
shows up in the game. They're a summonable, you know, group of people. They'll help
They have
fight
their
for
own
them.
ship. Cool.
Well, I
man.
hope
Cool.
you enjoy it, Ains.
Yeah.
The new season is starting shortly, so enjoy.
As we always say, Ubisoft's great about that stuff, man. They keep that content going with their seasons. Cat Quest 2 I downloaded. You were talking about Cat Quest 3 last week, and I think
another piracy game.
Yeah. So Cat Quest 2 was on sale on PSN for like $350 or $375. Sure. So I was like, I'll check it out. Why not? So played that for a little while, you know, had some fun with it. It's definitely a lighthearted, more simplistic game, but I could see why it would be a lot of fun just to veg out with. So I figured that's the first time I've ever checked out Cat Quest. So
Cat Quest is awesome. It's a great series. And as Ains has pointed out, you can get the first and second probably on a good sale if you're looking at your platform of choice.
Yeah, for sure. And now they have like the whole collection you can get to with all 3 of them and whatever. Now,
Cat Quest, experience the saga.
The saga. But yeah, that's about it for me, honestly, outside of my usual Rocket League, Halo nonsense. So Halo is crushing my soul at the moment, but I won't rant about that on this show. So it's just it's not in a good place. So
wait, really? Halo multiplayer? What's going on with there?
Dude, I almost rage quit a Halo ranked game last night, which if you know me is like, it's just I don't want to get into it. I'm gonna go off on a tangent rant.
Did they change something significantly that's causing this to happen, or is it just like performance stuff?
We just want the genre of issue.
Yes. They've changed some physics stuff, which has messed it up. The connection issues are bad. It's just hasn't been any new content in ranked. They talked about making new maps. There haven't been any. It's a mess, man. It's very frustrating. So
do you wanna cry?
Yeah. A little bit.
I think it's important to cry if you're
show your emotions.
Let's
a little bit.
Guys, we're gonna take a 10-minute break here. Just go off stream, and when we come back, I think Ames is going to be in a better place, and I think the show will be better for it. So we'll see you guys in 10.
In 10, and we're back.
We're back. That was great, Ames. I'm really glad you did that. That was really.
You're welcome.
Honestly, I feel closer to you.
Thank you.
I feel like it really helped this cast. So let's move on.
The audio listeners will know none the wiser. So
exactly. And with that, Hoag's Notes. Now it's time for Hoag's Notes.
Well, as we've discussed, now we are in that kind of transitional period between games of the pre-summer, early summer, and the deluge of games coming out now at the end of August, early September. And so I have been catching up on other games that I've been interested in getting back to or finishing up. For the most part, I talked about it last week that I would restarted Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I fell off it pretty hard when I got to the second big area because I was overwhelmed by the feelings of bad choices that had been made in the design of this game. And I am messaging with Alex during this replay, and we're talking about Rebirth a little bit. And I think they've made so many good choices that are just overwhelmed by so many bad choices that it's a really heartbreaking kind of experience for me because I love Final Fantasy. I love Final Fantasy VII. Remake was one of my favorite games of the year it released. And now Rebirth is one that I can see how it could be great in various like 10-hour chunks. And then it just kills you. It just makes you regret having joined it for video game fun. And that makes me sad, but I am trying to get through the second area now again, and we'll see how it goes. I'm also playing Diablo 4, where you guys made fun of me last week, but I have restarted with a new hardcore character, and I am proceeding.
Why are you doing this?
I don't know why he's doing this to himself.
Why are you doing this?
Because I have like 11 days of time in Diablo 4, and I was looking for something new to experience in the Diablo 4 universe. And what's cool about hardcore mode in Diablo 4 is that you do get the opportunity to go in and explore the entire area again. It's a new server. The hardcore server is separated from the kind of mainline server. And so I get to go and earn the potions back and do some of the early game stuff that I haven't been able to do in like 2 years. And that's been fun. But yeah, it's slow going when you're worried about dying all the time. But so I've been enjoying it.
Are you trying to get your name on that statue? I went and saw that statue. The statue at Blizzard HQ of Lilith with all of the people who've
hardcore 100
hardcore 100 level 100 players.
I didn't know that was a thing.
I mean,
we're gonna Travis. We're coming back next week, and he's gonna be like, "Well, my character's dead."
Yeah, I know. This is a disaster on the way. It's like when your friend makes like a really questionable decision, and all the friends know that it's questionable, but they don't want to speak up, so they're just like. They talk later and they're like, "Look, he's just got to learn the lesson himself."
Yep.
You know?
The friend's like super happy about it. It's like we'll revisit this in due time.
We know she's bad for him, but we just got to wait for the breakup happen.
He's got to learn the hard way.
Yeah, he's got to learn the hard way, and then we'll tell him we told him.
We can just have a segment where we talk about how my hardcore character is doing. It's great.
That'd be great. I have a thing. Yeah.
Level 19, by the way. So we've cleared the first hardcores level. Oh, yeah. We're getting there. Having a good time. Enjoying ourselves.
What's the over under on level, Travis? What are you betting?
Ooh, let's see. I'm gonna say he dies at like 28.
I was gonna say 29. I swear that's the number that was in my head. All right. If you hit 30, Hogue, and you have to play normally, if you hit 30, we'll be proud of you. Otherwise, I'm gonna make fun of you.
I'm gonna get to 30. Okay. I will start a new character and get to 30 in this week if I have to.
Look. I love you, Hogue, but this sounds like the bakery again. You're
gonna add some goods to my bakery, Hogue? You're welcome to join me.
I think the guts are hanging out of you, and Ains and I are holding you and being like, "You do it, buddy. You're gonna get there."
You were so close. As I'm like feeding him a nice scone. You know?
You're gonna do it, buddy. You're gonna get to level 30, man. We're gonna do it together.
I'm excited. I'm enjoying this
guy.
I love Diablo 4, and this is a fun new way to try it. So I'm enjoying that.
I'm impressed at your gumption here. I didn't think because I mean this is the guy who just said that he doesn't want to play Elden Ring because it's too hard, and I would say making a hardcore character on Diablo is.
That's more stressful than Elden Ring.
That's more stressful by a lot. Yeah, because dying in Elden Ring has almost no consequences. You risk wasting like 50 hours. You know what I mean?
It's not a waste if you're having fun.
That's true. That's fair.
I would say if you're having fun, it by definition is a waste, but that's okay. Hours well wasted.
I've got a therapist for you then, Travis.
Elu, who is probably the most optimistic person I know in my entire life, says 43. So he's on your side.
Wow, that is very optimistic. Yeah. He's not going to make it to 43.
Willow says 27. She's right there with us. Yeah. So we'll see.
I'm going to do it.
You folks leave us a comment.
Change your mind.
Yeah, leave us a comment. Leave us a comment on what you think Hogue's going to hit.
In Hogue's defense, this season, the player is very overpowered. It's a great season to do hardcore because my buddy Kevin, who is really, really into Diablo, he sent me a clip of him melting a level 100 boss by himself in about 3 seconds. It was just, and it was, but he's extra hardcore, but like players are pretty OP right now. So in Hogue's defense, it's a good season to do it.
Well, I mean, I think it started with Loot Reborn, really, which is where I got the idea that I would try a hardcore character, because when you get to temper all of your weaponry, when you get to really set up how you want your character to be built, you can get to a place where you're way over the curve of what you're fighting.
Is it survivability right now? Is that your build? Just making sure you don't die?
Well, kind of. It's a necro, so I hang back. And it's designed to not be terrifying. So I got defender skeletons around me. It's going to be great. We're going to do fantastically. I like the people that believe in me in the chat. I like the people that don't believe in me, but a little bit less.
Wait till Hogue experiences a death by lag spike. Those are fun.
Yeah, those are brutal. Can I get a clip out of Hogue saying, "I've got defender skeletons around me"? I just want that on tap. I'd like
it'll be our next AI picture. It'll be Hogue with defender skeletons around
Hogue with defender skeletons around him. I'm very horrified at what AI is going to come up with for that. That's scary to me.
I'm looking forward to it. But on the real Hogue's notes, I have been playing a few things that came out on PC a little while back. My cadence tends to be when they come to Switch, I see them and play them more often. So I've been playing a game called Magical Delicacy, which is a pixel-based witch cozy game where you bake magical things for people that are asking for them in and around town. I am enjoying that a lot, but it is a little bit more complicated than I thought it would be. So I've also been playing
I've been playing that one too.
Magical Delicacy? All right. Yeah.
Well, D obviously this is a D game, but I've gotten into it through her. So yeah, just making sure I'm thinking of the right one because I almost never see the title. Pixel, and it's got platforming where you're jumping around the town.
Yeah, almost a Symphony of the Night looking type town.
Yeah. Yep, that's a cool one. That one's been kind of surprising for me.
Yeah,
I also played the game you didn't recommend, No One Wants to Die, and that has been more fun than I think you gave it credit for.
Nobody Wants to Die, I didn't say some people wouldn't like it. I said that the mystery was a little bit too linear, and it's not as interesting as I think that the premise should be. But I don't doubt that a lot of people will like it. It's got a lot of mood. It is very much aimed at that noir feeling.
Yeah. I just like noir. Yeah. So it's been good for me.
I would recommend it to anybody that just says, hey, I like noir, and specifically I like the superficial aesthetics of noir. I want to see some shadows coming through blinds. I want to hear some trumpets. That game's going to give that to you.
Yeah. It's fun.
But Magical Delicacy, I do recommend. I think it's better than I had even anticipated it would be, although it's not my favorite of the random indie games this week. That goes to a game called Arco, which is a pixel-based action adventure RPG thing that is roughly about kind of like indigenous Spaniards, I would say. And I am embarrassed to say I can't tell you what's fictional and what's true in what this game is putting out there, but it's something like Spain or Latin America, and then like them dealing with colonizing forces while you make your way through villages and on maps and things and fight snakes and then eventually bandits and whatnot. But it's its own thing. It's very unique. And it's gorgeous in a very specific way. I really like that pixel art style from almost the kind of early King's Quest era. And combined with some really modern design sensibilities, I think it's my favorite of the kind of random games that I have played this week. So Arco, ARCO, not an expensive game. I highly recommend that one.
I like that. I was thinking about this because every week you have new games that you've been playing, and I'm like, you're like the ultimate buffet gamer. You just try a little bit of everything, and and there's nothing.
That's the way to do it, man.
Awesome.
When I'm not doing reviews, that's exactly how I play games. I just go, let's play 50 games because I have a short attention span.
Try them all out. I like Elu also says, I like how Bitcast is the opposite of a therapy session. Hogue says, I'm going to do this thing and it makes me happy. And Ains and Travis are like, you can't. You will suck and cry. I said that's what lets you know we're true friends, because that's what we rib each other. I mean,
and
that's the whole
to be fair, we're correct. It's not going to go well for him. We all know it.
Well, right now, the way I'm wired, I'm inclined to go get to level 30 like before the end of the day.
Nice.
So we'll see how
he's
it goes.
gonna
rush it, Hogue. Rush it.
He's gonna hate. He's gonna hate grind. I can't wait for that.
Fair enough. Anything else you want to mention, Hogue, before we move on to Gamescom?
Oh, yeah. I think the last one I did want to mention, which is from the PC and came to Switch this week as well, is a tiny little, let's call it a management game called Minami Lane, where you basically have the responsibility of building up a Japanese street with ramen shops and bookstores and houses, and you are managing what the youths of the street want as well as what the elders want, and get to decide what goes in the ramen bowl and how much you're going to charge for it and those kinds of things, with missions that you have to achieve as part of the management. But it's very, very simple. There's very little to do on a given day. So it's much more of a kind of toy than it is like a big theme park simulator type game. But it's well done and the art is gorgeous.
Okay, cool. What are you playing that on?
Switch. So all of these, Magical Delicacy, Arco, and Minami Lane, all came out on Switch this week.
Sweet. Okay. All right. Well, with that in mind, then, we're going to talk about Gamescom, where both, funny enough, PlayStation and Nintendo are skipping. They said neither of them will be attending, but there is an awful lot going on at Gamescom anyway, because similar to Summer Games Fest, which Nintendo and PlayStation skipped too, which is kind of weird, I guess. But anyway,
did they do their stuff like right after though?
They do it around then, yeah, but they like to control it completely themselves.
Typically,
yeah, I mean, I would say that
PlayStation hasn't done hardly anything this year.
Well, they did their state of play. The Concord state of play was right around that E3 week.
Right
the Concord state of play, yes.
So
but
I think like,
go ahead.
if at least in the case of not E3, I think if you do it within that week or two period, that kind of counts because there is no centralized event. But with Gamescom, there is still the centralized event, so you not participating is a little bit more meaningful, I think.
Yeah. Also, by the way, we've said before, and I think obviously gaming people know this, but Gamescom is the biggest game show of the year in the world, in terms of attendance, anyway.
Attendance, yeah. I don't think that means it's the biggest, but yeah.
Yeah, it depends how you measure it. Yeah, it may not be the most viewed, I guess you could say, but yeah. Regardless, we're going to run through this and kind of go through exactly what you can expect and when. So it's going to kick off with the Keighley, of course, which is opening night live. You call it Gamescom opening night live, which is Tuesday. And it's opening night live because in Germany, it's at 8 p.m. Central European Standard Time. But here in the U.S., it's actually at 11 a.m. Pacific or 2 p.m. Eastern. So this is going to be somewhere from 90 minutes to 2 hours as usual. And it's going to feature a wide range of games. I'm going to read down the list that he has shared directly, Keighley, but it's going to have games outside of this as well, including new announcements and other things.
This is usually my favorite of Keighley's shows in terms of content. I like ONL.
Yes, I do too, because it's more focused on games show rather than trying to mix trailers in with awards too, which is how I feel about it. But yeah, so we're going to get...
He didn't do that at his E3 show, Game Fest, and that show still was pretty bad too, because they didn't have anything to announce.
Yeah. We'll see what comes out of this one. But the main games they're focusing on: Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Monster Hunter Wilds, Indiana Jones Great Circle, Little Nightmares 3, Dragon Ball, Batman Arkham Shadow, Dune Awakening, Marvel Rivals, Squid Game Unleashed, which I guess we'll see, Mecha Break, which is making waves in the kind of competitive community. New game from Tarsier Studios. So again, Tarsier Studios is who made Little Nightmares 1 and 2. So we'll see what they're actually working on instead of Little Nightmares. Bigger Nightmares. Sid Meier's Civilization. Wouldn't that be hilarious if they just came out with a game called Big Nightmares? Sid Meier's Civilization 7, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and Lost Records Bloom and Rage. Along with other things.
And not Silksong.
Silksong is mentioned nowhere. Again.
No, Keighley put out a tweet that said Silksong will not be at his show. So stop asking.
Yeah, I've gone through a wide range of Gamescom info to write up these notes and everything. Silksong was nowhere to be found. Yeah, so Hollow Knight fans, I'm sorry. I don't know what is going on with that game. I don't know.
Might be having a bit of a hiccup.
I think it's just one of those games that just will take forever, kind of like Cuphead. Like it'll be great when it gets here, but it'll just take forever, and no release date will have any meaning because they'll make it take as long as it takes.
Yeah. So that is opening night live. I personally, Indiana Jones is showing up everywhere. So you're going to hear me say that. That's like on every show for all week.
Yes.
Monster Hunter Wilds as well is going to be a big one this week, which I know Elu and others at SG, there's a bunch of big Monster Hunter kind of crew there that's excited about that. We have a preview up of Marvel Rivals. I don't know if you guys, I don't think it's typically your type of game, Marvel Rivals, but the beta for that was the past couple weeks, and we have a preview Steve did for SG. He said it's quite good. He actually liked it quite a bit, so I think that's gonna do well.
That's the hero shooter one.
Hero shooter, yes, free to play. Which, by the way, like saw at least in beta form saw a lot bigger numbers on PC than Concord did.
I'll play it. That sounds cool. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's gonna have bigger numbers. It's got an established IP, and it doesn't have any exclusivity on platforms, so it just has more people who can play it. So.
And it's free to play.
Yeah, and it's free to play. Yeah, I think obviously it's going to have bigger numbers, but will it be better long term? It's a question.
Yeah, of course.
Probably it will. Honestly,
I don't like the third person kind of approach to that game, to those types of games, as much as I like first person for whatever reason. Like I just never got into the ones where you're third person in that context.
Interesting.
The funny thing now that you mention it, I think the only third person shooter I really get into is Gears.
Well, I think he's talking about hero shooters specific, like Fortnite. Like that's a third person shooter.
Fortnite's a battle royale, and I do like Fortnite, so that's a good counter. I was thinking more of like, what's the one with the gods? Is it Smite? That I never really liked.
Smite's a MOBA though.
Smite's different. A MOBA. Yeah, it's a little different. All the MOBAs are third person.
Yeah. League of Legends, Dota.
Yeah,
they're all third person.
Lord of the Rings. Remember that? The Lord of the Rings MOBA on Xbox. You guys didn't play that?
I don't.
Bro, I was a Galadriel main. We got to play. God, what is that game called?
I was a Galadriel main. Is a fantastic.
Dude, Galadriel. Dude, she was goated.
I was an Anduin main. Sorry.
Honestly, yeah. I think they were in that too.
I am super, super excited about Little Nightmares 3, but I'm also cautiously excited because obviously you switch development teams. You always wonder if it's going to retain that same feel, the same, everything that kind of goes into making those first two games amazing to me. So this is actually, I believe, someone can correct me, but I think it's Supermassive, who's making Little Nightmares 3, who have made those other horror games like The Quarry and Until Dawn and those other ones. So a little bit of a shift here. I don't know if I would assume it's a separate team making this, because I know that the main Supermassive team is making the cast of Frank Stone, right?
Are the Little Nightmares games legitimately scary? Are they on the horror side? I thought they were like kids platformers.
They are creepy, but they're not legitimate.
They're horror platformers, if that makes sense. So they're creepy. They're not scary. I wouldn't call it scary, but they're creepy. Yeah, okay. They have like disfigured.
They're creepy, mildly unsettling platformers. I would say that they're on like the slightly creepier side of Inside. They're like at that level.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're at Inside and Limbo and that kind of stuff, then that's creepier than I thought they were.
Yeah, they're a little creepy, but they're not. I would say, I think the ending of Inside is creepier than anything that's in Little Nightmares. Little Nightmares is kind of tongue in cheek. It's like, it's cutesy, but it's also unsettling.
Okay. Dude, the ending of Little Nightmares 1 it's amazing.
Very good.
I'll have to give it a try.
A game in general.
Dude, I love those games. Those are just incredible games.
By the way, the game I was thinking of is called Guardians of Middle Earth, 2012, Xbox Live Arcade, 360 game. Nobody played it?
Guardians of Middle Earth.
Sick game. Well, I mean, it was sick at the time, but
Kingdom Come Deliverance.
They had a little statue of the end of Inside, didn't they? I'm surprised you don't have that, Ains.
A statue, like a collector thing
of the appendage monster. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they did. I do have the Little Nightmares 2 one, where he's getting pulled through the TV. but that's a whole nother thing. I was going to say Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I was going to mention this at the end of the show, but yeah, that got delayed this week to February 11th, I believe. The team, though, is going to be showing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Damn.
Yeah, it's delayed to February.
That.
Yeah.
Shit.
But they are going to be showing it off a lot at Gamescom. They have a timeline basically of this next week and a half or so in August where they're going to be showing stuff off for it, and they announced the collector's edition as well of that. So more to come. I think it looks fantastic. Given what we know with the games releasing here in the coming months, like that's fine. Put it back in February. So what else here? Any of you guys, Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, are you guys what do you call it, Life is Strange fans?
Mm-hmm. I will play that for sure.
Some of the Life is Strange. I don't like them all. But yeah, I think Lost Records seems pretty cool from the teaser trailer we got. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of that. I'm really looking forward to seeing Civ 7, just because we haven't seen even what their artistic approach is to this game yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's always a big deal in Civilization. So I love those types of games. I'm looking forward to seeing what it is that they're pitching on Civ 7's front. Just like I'm interested in seeing what like Microsoft is doing with, what is theirs called? Aura
History Untold. Yep. Which they'll show this week as well.
Yeah. So, like those are both fun things for a guy that likes strategy games like I do. And those are things to be excited about. That's a good day with a lot of cool things to look forward to.
You're a good day.
The interesting thing here on Tuesday is that the 2K showcase actually goes live after opening night live at 10:30 p.m. Central European time, which is kind of weird, but 1:30 Pacific here, 4:30 Eastern. So that's the 2K showcase. Not a lot of details on that one just yet, but stay tuned for that. And then basically once Wednesday morning comes around, that's when Xbox kicks off its huge event. So Xbox is going big on Gamescom, and they're kind of coordinating in similar times as IGN, funny enough. So the weird timing here. So Bethesda has its own live stream separate from Xbox starting at 5 a.m. Pacific, 8 a.m. Eastern, but 2 p.m. Central European time on Wednesday. An hour later, both
Xbox, West Coast.
Yeah, 5 a.m. An hour later, both Xbox and IGN go live. And there's some coordination here happening between them, right? Sure. So Xbox has talked about on day one covering Stalker 2, Atomfall, Age of Mythology, and Starfield Shattered Space, which, obviously a lot of people are looking for, as well as Vessel of Hatred for Diablo 4. And then IGN in parallel, right? They're going to be interviewing some of the team behind Diablo 4, Vessel of Hatred, along with Avowed, Monster Hunter Wilds, Dragon Ball, and Marvel Rivals, and more. So a lot of kind of shared and dual coverage happening for the live streams, which is cool. So obviously Vessel of Hatred, one of my most anticipated things all year. We're only, 2 months away from it now. Cannot wait for that. That's going to be amazing. Shattered Space. Starfield, I know we've talked a lot about Starfield on the show, but Starfield, I haven't gone back to it since. It did not grab me in the way that I hoped it would. I'm hoping Shattered Space, beyond being an obvious expansion, touches up some things about the core game as well. Do we have any inkling about what Shattered Space is going to be exactly yet that I'm unaware of?
They're bringing in the faction that I think got on the cutting room floor when they decided to release it. So it's going to be another set of faction quests for the religious space cult, I believe.
Yeah,
and whatever that entails.
The Snake Boys cult, which I think was like one of the coolest details of the universe, and then there's no way to actually dive into that faction in the game, which kind of feels like something that got cut out or that they didn't have time for. I think that's exactly what happened, and this is like, hey, we're addressing that. Now there's a whole way and storyline you can interact with this faction and figure out what's going on with them. I think it's House of Arun is what they're called.
Yep.
And to me, they were one of the coolest, like, oh, I want to know more. And then the longer you play, as you guys know, I played over 200 hours of that game. And then you find out, oh, there's just no way to really interact with these people. They're out in some unknown space. The only thing you can do is talk to characters that are the few characters in the game that are from House of Arun, who will just like tell you about their culture and where they're from and stuff. And that's really it. So I think this can be really cool, but as you guys know, I got burned out pretty hard on Starfield. I wish them the best, and if I hear that it's really good, maybe I can be convinced, but this is not one I'm really champing at the bit to play. So
I'm pumped for it, but I'd love to be pumped for it on a date of some specificity. So if they can give us even a range of times when I should prepare the pump, that would be great. I like Starfield a lot. I think that Travis might have liked it more if it weren't kind of forced upon him on a very limited time frame. I've played Starfield on and off every once in a while for like the better part of a year now. And I think that's a better way to play that particular game. But certainly it got a lot better with the major update earlier this year. So if you haven't visited it since then, Ains, it is a more solid game than it was when it launched. And I think it's a very impressive update. Not quite as impressive as Cyberpunk's update, but close.
Okay. Also, prepare the pump, I think, needs to be a tagline for Starfield, for sure.
Prepare the pump.
Put them right on your teeth.
I don't know why prepare the pump just sounds like something a faction in Mad Max would shout, like aggressively.
It's me.
So Avowed is going to be shown that first day as well. Avowed, as you may recall, was delayed to February as well. So now we joked at the time that February has been a pretty busy month in the past few years, right? So already in August, we know Avowed and Kingdom Come Deliverance are in February now. And you know that's just going to get more and more full as time goes on. So definitely prepare the pump for that one.
It wouldn't surprise me if Monster Hunter winds up and about then. So yeah, prepare the pump indeed.
And
please don't make prepare the pump thing on the show.
Hashtag prepare the pump.
Season Gaming's Bitcast. Prepare the pump.
Dude, I'm horrified.
Yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds, obviously, I've joked about Monster Hunter in the past. Elu, who is our moderator here on the Season Gaming side, is a diehard Monster Hunter lover. I have never been able to get into it, which I've joked about. I did sit through the demo at Summer Game Fest, and I have promised that I will try this game. I will buy it. I will try to get into it. So this week, they have been demoing the weaponry from Monster Hunter Wilds and how it's evolving, how it's changing, etc. So we've been talking about that on our Discord. I think, Monster Hunter, regardless of what I think, is a very big IP. Mm-hmm. I'm sure this game is going to do bonkers numbers when it launches next year. But I was impressed by the demo at Summer. So, yeah, Capcom.
Capcom has reached a level of trust for me that I can only equate to like BioWare when they were really going, or Square Enix.
Or From Software, yeah.
Yes, for you guys, definitely From. But yeah, Capcom basically is an instant buy for me at this point.
Yeah, Capcom is crushing it, no doubt about that. I can't wait to see what's Resident Evil, what's next there too. We obviously, I won't think to see that here at Gamescom.
Make Code Veronica.
Yes, thank you. I wish more people would be preaching.
Make a new game. Stop remaking
Code Veronica.
Well, they're making 9 as well. Yeah, they're making 9 as well.
Just make that. Stop doing remakes, you weirdos.
Their remakes are excellent.
Come on.
Okay.
If you want to remake Mega Man, that's fine too, Capcom. I don't care. You guys have it in your development house. Make whatever you like. New, old, don't care.
Just new. Make new. Old is for the old.
We are old, Travis.
It's true. Wait, am I part of we? Am I
old? You're part of we.
No,
you are.
Yep.
You're
fully part of it now. Deal with it.
Okay. Yep. Well, I'm gonna
remake Mega Man Legends. Let's go, Capcom.
Nah, don't do that. Just make a new Mega Man.
Mega Man Legends.
For those who are interested,
new Ace Attorney. How about that? That's what I said.
You're already getting that.
I mean, I'm not gonna.
Travis,
not going to criticize,
but I want these companies operate. There's almost no chance that they aren't working on an Ace Attorney with all these re-releases.
I think with all these re-releases, it's very clear that there's a new Ace Attorney, maybe even a new trilogy down the pipe. But I just want it. I want it, Hogue. Enough foreplay.
Fair enough.
Well, clip that, folks.
Prepare the pump. All right.
Prepare the pump. Enough foreplay.
on Wednesday, we also get the Level Infinite live stream. I had to look up specifically what this was related to. They obviously haven't said the games, but if you're kind of looking through what they're, as a publisher, working on, they're working on the Dune Awakening game. They're working on Den of Wolves, which is the next game. Den of Wolves from
check that out.
From oh god, why am I blanking on the team?
Starbreeze, former Starbreeze folk.
Yes, thank you, Starbreeze. So they also are doing Exoborn, which is looked good. So yeah, that's actually Level Infinite live streams at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. European time. And then later that day, we also get the Future Game Show, which is going to be 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central European 2, where they're going to show more on Civilization 7. So you get more there. They're also going to show Greedfall 2. As well as Exoborn and Spine, a game called Spine. So Greedfall 2, I know, is one. Greedfall was one of those games that was rough around the edges, but considered kind of like a AA, almost classic BioWare-ish title. What are you thinking about Greedfall 2? You excited for this one? You're hoping they kind of polish it up?
I have played it.
Yeah, Travis said he played it, and they were going to go with like an early access approach. He told me to not get excited for a while.
Correct. I think that is my advice. My advice is I like this team. I have no doubt that at some point Greedfall 2 will be great, but the version I played was very early draft, and they're going the early access model. So I think it's one of those things where, like, if this game takes off, I think it'll take off like Baldur's Gate 3 did, which is after it's fully out, not while it's in early access. And so I'm okay with that personally. I want them to work on it. I like the idea that they're getting player feedback and working on the game over the course of a year or years. And I will for sure play it when it's done. But just based on what I played, like it's going to be rocky. And this Team Spiders is working on it. Yeah, I think that they're going to be. I think they're going to be behind their schedule.
Yeah, I mean,
the whole way.
They're traditionally more ambitious than their resources have allotted for them, right? Like that's the nature of playing a Spiders game. So if this mechanism of going early access and having a long runway for releasing to final version is available, I think you might get even a better product than you have in the past from them. I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic. And I love Greedfall. I think Greedfall was as close as they got to kind of BioWare Prime. And if they can get even closer, if they can be as good or better than BioWare Prime, I think we're all going to be advantaged by that. So Greedfall 2, I'm excited, but Travis has told me to essentially put it on ice for a couple of years.
Yeah, my concern with Greedfall's early access model is I think you're right, Hogue, that we stand a better chance of getting better product. But I also think that if they ask for feedback, I don't think they're ever going to stop receiving it, because Team Spiders has sort of, to your point, cut their losses and released a game that wasn't as good as I think even they wanted it to be because of budget reasons. And what does that happen when you're in the early access model? Like, what does that look like? At what point do you go, okay, we know that you want even more change, but we can't really afford the budget, so this is just the version we're putting a stamp on.
The risk on this side of things, if you're worried about it, is you could become Star Citizen, right? If you don't have the kind of project discipline. But I'd prefer to be optimistic and say, well, if you have this little bit of extra runway, that maybe you get something that's a little bit closer to how you envisioned it. And I agree with you, Travis, that their reach exceeds their grasp. Like that's the Spiders that I've known. And my hope is that Greedfall 2 is as close to what they are reaching for as they can get it with this new business model.
Yeah, I just hope that they have the budget to reach as far as the early access feedback will demand. Because the two risks I think they have is running out of money to finish all of the stuff that they want to finish while it's in the early access period, or never running out of money but never finishing it, which is the Star Citizen model. So I think there's two kind of possible pitfalls. And but I do think obviously early access, I think they saw what Baldur's Gate 3 was able to do, and they're just looking at that like, let's just do that. Let's just make sure it's ready when it's ready and fund it with early access dollars until then. And if that works for them, that could be a huge game changer. It could be the level up Team Spider's needs. This is also the first time they've ever done this.
Yeah.
Which when I talked to their team, they were stoked about it. They were just like, yeah, we want this to be what Dragon Age Origins was, And I think there's a lot of appetite for that.
And Larian learned a bunch of lessons going through the Baldur's Gate experience. So,
Yes.
I mean, I think we can hope for something like the Baldur's Gate outcome because we know that's possible. And Spiders is a gifted team. So I will prefer to hope for what's possible while acknowledging that there are dead ends that you can go down with this path.
Yeah.
Yep. For sure. Exoborn is an extraction shooter. So for those who may have forgotten this, we did get a trailer for this before, and I just quickly pulled it up. So it's an open world extraction shooter where you team up, co-op, you scavenge, craft, and then fight to stay alive. So it looks a little bit like a Anthem meets a Marathon, maybe. I don't really know what they're going for here, but I guess we'll see how it performs. We'll see more obviously this week, but I can't really tell. I can't get a good read on if this one is going to really make waves or be one of those games that just looks cool and then disappears a week after it launches. Which game? Exoborn. So it was announced at the Game Awards back in December originally, and it looks very cool, but the way it's described, at least for me personally, just cautions me. When you talk about extraction shooter where you have to craft and scavenge things, I don't know if we'll see what it looks like this week. So yeah, maybe I think more broader. It's like open world instead of like level based. So we'll see.
Well, speaking of Exo games, have we heard anything from that Exodus game that I think was announced at Game Awards? Like, does that exist? Is that game real? That was the one with like Matthew McConaughey and like
that game,
BioWare competitor type space game.
Yeah, I don't
even remember what you're talking about.
That's fair.
I remember it, but I don't think we're going to see anything from that game in a while. That strikes me as one of those like we saw the tip of the iceberg, and that's all they're really going to show us for a while.
Okay, I just didn't know because I have not gone through like the plans for Gamescom as I know Ains has.
Let's see. Exodus, new sci-fi. Okay, by the director of Knights of the Old Republic. Butterfly affect choices over years. Okay, yeah, I remember this now. Did they say anything about when we're going to see it next?
Oh, it was a really early teaser. I was just wondering whether or not it was real at all.
No, I don't see anything about when we expect to see it next. Maybe it'll be one of those we see again at Game Awards later this year. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's
it's just a Game Awards game for like 5 years.
That's it. Yeah. So that's really, let's see, where are we here? No, sorry. So then we move into Thursday, which is officially day 2 of Gamescom. So same thing, Bethesda, Xbox, and IGN are the same time every day. So 2 and 3 p.m. Central European time, which is 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. Pacific. On day 2, they're going to focus on Star Wars Outlaws, World of Warcraft, The War Within, Towerborn, and then updates to Fallout 76 and Elder Scrolls Online. We're also going to see more Indiana Jones, Stalker 2, and Atomfall, which Atomfall was that game from, I believe, the Sniper Elite team that we saw at Xbox Showcase in summer a couple months ago. So obviously Indiana Jones, I think it's going to be a big focus, as I said, this week. It is one that, we should get the release date, should still be coming later this year. And I'll tell you guys, I'm excited for it.
Are we feeling good about 2024 for Indiana Jones?
I can almost guarantee you it's coming out in 2024 because I know people who've played it. And they say that it feels extremely finished. And they also say that it feels extremely good. So I was also kind of on the fence of like, I don't know if the gameplay is going to be good. There's just a lot of pitfalls when you talk Indiana Jones, but people I've talked to who have now played it, a lot of pit traps, sand traps. But they've really, it sounds like from the people who have played it that it is really good. So I think it's going to come out this year for sure.
All right, you heard it here, folks. Travis says get excited for Indiana Jones coming this year and is going to be great.
Yep.
I do say these things from my unnamed sources.
I think he's right. It's why it's our cover game for the thumbnail this week. I think it's going to be a big focus for this week for Xbox and Bethesda. And yeah, I'm very excited for it. I hope
Xbox owes me some dates, and if they give me some dates for things like Shattered Space and Indiana Jones, I will be happy.
This is 100% true. And I know we were talking about it in our chat the other day, but to Travis's point, Machine Games, man, Machine Games is a very talented studio, and I think they're gonna hit this one.
I think they have quite literally never missed.
Well, I mean, they went bankrupt, right?
Starbreeze. You're talking about Starbreeze?
Yeah,
but their games were good,
right? But running a company is more than just delivering quality. And
I don't care about that. I care about, did they make a good game? I don't think they've made a bad game.
I don't think they made a bad game. So I mean, like, if we go back,
let's see, it was
Riddick.
Chronicles of Riddick, The Darkness, Wolfenstein. I mean, they've made their track records crazy.
Did they make the Darkness sequel?
No. And they also did not make Youngblood, whoever pointed that out. That was a different team. So, I mean, look, their track record's crazy.
Yeah.
So they didn't make Darkness 2 or Youngblood? Because those are the ones I probably would have put on them.
They did not make either of those. I actually looked this up. I was like wondering, like, what are there any games that I think that they've flopped on? I looked it up, and they got a really clean record. So,
all right,
yeah, there you go. Well, we'll see more this week. I'm hopeful for it. Obviously, we've already talked a lot about Star Wars Outlaws, and that's coming very soon anyway. So we'll obviously be talking a lot more about that, in a couple weeks here. Stalker 2 coming now in November, but shaping up really well. A lot of footage of that being shared lately, and just giving that team the time to finish that up and polish it up. So pretty excited about that one. It looks really good in the early preview coverage.
Yeah.
Adam Fall's an interesting one. We got the teaser trailer of that in the summer. I don't really know what to expect of that. I'm curious to see more this week. Sniper Elite, kind of has its, would you call a niche fan base maybe?
Those are good games, but they're very specific.
By the way, I'm in that niche fan base, if that counts as a niche fan base, because I love those games. I buy them every year. They're so much fun. You can play them in co-op, man. That's the best part about those games. You can play in co-op, just have your buddy and you sneaking around in the woods, and then
they're really good games. It's some of the best use of a sandbox that I think we have in gaming. But you have to be
Hitler in every game. I'll never get bored of killing Hitler. Bro.
You have to be in the mood to snipe Nazis and get X-ray kills and things like that. But it's well done.
Always play the bro. You got to kill Hitler in every single game.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I'll have to look it up, but I thought Adam Fall was around that same time too. Like it's like World War II era Britain, isn't it? With like some type of thing. 5 years after nuclear disaster in northern England. Yeah, so maybe they don't say the year, but it looked very similar in that.
It's like a Fallout vibe, isn't it?
Yeah, but it kind
does
of like
look
a different
like we have Fallout at home a little bit.
Guess we'll see. So we'll get to see more of that this week. Towerborn is one that I was hugely excited for. So if you don't remember Towerborn, that's a 4-player side-scrolling co-op kind of action game. I can't remember if I can talk about it. I have played Towerborn. I don't remember if it's under embargo or not. But we'll see more of that this week anyway. I don't think it is. So what I played was interesting. I'm looking at that game to be kind of almost like a like an old school the old D&D side scrolling games. And what's the game? Dragon's Crown. Those types of games. Yeah, it's like those kind of co-op games with loot and builds and stuff. And it's got this kind of home base you go back to where you can level up your equipment and your characters, and it's got this world map that's kind of a grid pattern. And I had some fun with it. I didn't play a lot of it, but I'm interested to see how they polish that up. Supposedly still coming this year too, so we may get a date on that. We'll see.
What was the name of that tower game that was originally on like the Ouya? Because like
Towerfall.
I keep thinking this is that.
Towerfall is freaking awesome. That game is sick. That game's sick.
That's what I keep thinking Towerborn is.
Oh, okay.
Very different type of game, but
yeah.
I mean, that's not a bad association to have. Towerfall is goated, dude. I'll still go back and play that game sometimes.
Yeah. So, and then on Friday, the last day of the show, so same times again, We're going to get more look at Avowed. You're going to get Aura History Untold, which you were referring to, Hogue, of course. 33 Immortals, which was shown at the Xbox show previously, and that I know that has had closed betas as well. I don't think we could speak about Squirrel with a Gun. It's coming up on the Xbox show on Friday as well. Man.
Hell yeah.
Path of Exile 2 as well as a little game I'm hugely excited for because I love the team and I love the first one, Tales of Iron 2.
That's the little rat Soulsborne.
Yeah.
Game. Oh, I like Tales of Iron.
Tales of Iron was great.
Soulsborne, huh?
Oh, it's really fun, dude.
It's like a cartoon, but like their graphics are really good. They're really thick outlines. It looks almost like an illustrated like manuscript.
You're saying this is a sequel, and I've never even heard of the original.
Yeah, Tales of Iron. It's
what?
It's rats.
Rats. Oh, okay. No, I have.
I was gonna say, I'm sure you've heard of it. I reviewed the first one. Yeah,
that's cool. I don't think I ever played this, but yeah, it does look familiar now that I'm.
You would like it, dude. It's a really well done game for what it is. Small studio, but
a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say it's similar to that. I'd say it's more polished, a little more expansive than Salt and Sanctuary. And 2 looks fantastic. In fact, cool. Oddbug Studio, one of the leads there was on Luke's Xbox expansion pass. Good timing with the hat. And they talked about it. He did a good interview talking about what they're doing for part 2. So it sounds fantastic.
Is Geralt back?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the voice actor who voices Geralt is the main character in Tales of Iron. So
what? Doug Cockle?
Yeah.
No way.
Cool. Yeah.
I admit I don't know his actor name, so
yeah, that's him.
Geralt.
Yeah, I couldn't remember until he said it. But
everybody knows our old grizzly, gravelly voice boy. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Squirrel with a Gun. Talk to us, Travis.
Oh, so full disclosure, I know nothing about Squirrel with a Gun. I know that it is silly and goofy, and then I'm reviewing it, and that's really all I need to know. So I'm excited to play that one, but I mean, who knows if this game is going to be good? It could be just like a silly goat simulator type game, or it could be one of those games that's really dumb, but then surprises you with how good it is, like Untitled Goose Game. Mm-hmm. You never know when you go into one of these reviews or when you go into play, but I'll be sure to tell you as soon as I know if it's good or not. But I'm excited to find out. I mean, that's for me, when I'm reviewing, I have more fun with these sort of like I don't know games than like a Ubisoft game where you know it's probably going to be at least pretty good, you know. And so it could be a disaster, it could be awesome, and that's kind of the fun rolling the dice there. So I know nothing about the game.
It's definitely generated some buzz. Like there's buzz about this game, so I hope it delivers. It looks hilarious, obviously. So we'll see. To your point,
the magic of titles. It's a good title. It's easy to remember. But Travis, I have an important question for you. Would you rather be a squirrel with a gun or a wizard with a gun?
I think a squirrel with a gun.
Okay.
Yeah, wizard with a gun is also a pretty good game. But I think wizards, they already have wands, which kind of can act like guns in a lot of scenarios. I think squirrel with a gun.
You think it's overkill?
There's no equivalent to a squirrel with a gun. Squirrels are gunless by and large. And so, yeah.
All right.
I enjoy it.
Path of Exile 2, we've talked about, both Travis and I got to play that this summer. And it's shaping up really, really well. Just a reminder, that's not releasing until next year. So it's not like a fall game or anything.
That's delayed yet again.
Yeah, I think we're just going to see more of it, but I think that's a good thing. Grinding Gear Games has done extremely well with Path of Exile 1. They have my full trust in what they're doing with Path of Exile 2. So polish that thing up. Obviously now with some of the other games like Last Epoch out on the market, and obviously Diablo 4 and Vessel of Hatred later this year, doing really well. I think it makes sense for them to make sure Path of Exile 2 is ready to rock and roll, when they do release that. So yeah, James asked about. Yeah, sorry. I was going to say, James asked about, is Squirrel with a Gun coming to console? I don't remember. Do you know?
It is, yeah.
Okay, cool. 33 Immortals looks really cool. If you don't remember which one that is, it's like this co-op kind of game where, if I remember correctly, someone can correct me, it's basically you can have up to 33 people working together to take down like a god, I believe. Very unique take on kind of a co-op experience. So they did a closed beta for this one. Sad enough, I got access to it and I never played it. I didn't have time. So one of those that I can't even really comment on. I don't know if it's under NDA anyway, but this
I don't think it is because I saw people posting on social media about that they were really enjoying it. Like I think
cool.
I think I saw Paris Lily was like really into it and stuff.
I did
so
see some posts about 33.
Okay, good. So yeah, excited about that. The art style is really, really strong on it, in my opinion. So yeah, excited to see more on that. I'm also curious to see what they show of Avowed. We know that this game was supposedly very polished. The statement was that they delayed it simply to give it breathing room with all the games this fall. Whether or not you believe that or not doesn't really matter. But I'm curious to see what they show, because the last time they showed it, I think they got some feedback around the combat looking a little clunky. You know, we talked about it on
Didn't they already address that?
Wasn't that was
like
a
one
time
trailer
ago.
ago?
Yeah.
They did. But that's what I mean. I'm curious to see what they're going to show this week to kind of reinvigorate the excitement around what Avowed can be. I mean, I'm already excited for its Obsidian
story stuff. I feel like that's the one thing we haven't seen a lot of. Some story, and that'd be cool.
Yeah, the E3 week one that they did this year, I thought was very effective. It was kind of like look at the various aspects of the world. And I thought that was better than the kind of the pirate first person combat thing that we got a year ago, which admittedly, look, games get better as they are developed. So like this one keeps looking better and better. I would love to see another kind of great look at Avowed. I am not as excited about Avowed as some other projects because I don't love the Outer Worlds, and that's what that reminds me the most of. But it'll be an RPG. I'll get it.
It's Obsidian. It's
I don't
RPG.
think it's like Outer Worlds at all, though. It's like their what takes place in the same universe as
Pillars
of Eternity. Jeez, I always forget the name of that game. And I think that's very different tonally. I would say it's even less goofy than another world you like, the Divinity world, Divinity Original Sin.
Larian is super goofy.
They're very goofy in their world design, and I would say that this is on the more less goofy side of that. So I think studios can do multiple things. You can take the team that made Fallout New Vegas goofiness and Outer Worlds goofiness and make something that's a little less goofy. I think
I did not mean to suggest that they couldn't make a different tone of game. I'm just saying that what I have seen out of the project reminds me of the Outer Worlds.
Okay, well, the Outer Worlds is great. So
right, one more we disagree. We know this.
You get my game's name out of your damn mouth. But I'm excited for it.
I think Obsidian, to your point, I think shows some of the relationship building or character, kind of choices. I love that they showed their third person mode. That's a big win, right? I don't know why they didn't show that from the start. I think that's cool to be able to play it in that way. Yeah. So, maybe. So, I'm excited to see more of that. Hogue, I know, or I think anyway, if I recall correctly, you're excited about Aura, History Untold, and seeing what it is.
I like those kinds of games. I think every time they've shown it, they haven't been able to establish what makes it unique or interesting or why I should get excited about it. This is a hard type of game to show. I mean, Sid Meier's Civilization has some of the advantage in this particular genre because it's so old, right? Because that series has so many iterations, because people know what to expect from it.
Yeah.
What you don't want is Civilization, but slightly worse, right? Which is how these things tend to show when all you can see is kind of an over the head video of it. So they have to get into the weeds a little bit and establish why I should care about this game in particular.
Yeah, that's fair.
A lot of these can feel very samey if they don't have like a very key differentiator or what their like perspective or philosophy is. So I do feel like you need like developer commentary explaining like exactly why they made the choices that they made.
Yeah, we're also getting Age of Mythology this week as well, too, which hopefully they're having interviews on and going to kind of showcase that. I think that's why it seems like, and maybe you know more, Travis, I don't know, but with IGN lining up at the same time as the Xbox stream, I think there's going to be a lot of kind of partnership on those things and showing these games and talking about them, letting the developers speak to them, which is cool.
I think the formula usually is they announce the games and then IGN tries to get like an extended look with any games that are shown. Mm-hmm. So. And since Xbox is the only console developer that's there, I think there's just a lot of natural overlap.
Sure. Yeah. And then on that Friday night is the Gamescom award show, which kind of closes out the week. So that's at 4 p.m. Central European time, which is 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. So there's obviously going to be more games shown than we talked about. There's things that are unannounced, obviously. But yeah, I'm really excited for this week. It's going to be a good week. I think to Hoag's point, we're going to get some release dates for things we've been waiting on. We're going to get new looks at things we've already seen. Great time to celebrate games. So I wish I could be there, but it'll be fun regardless.
It will be.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Guys, let's go to Gamescom together.
I can't afford to go to Germany, Travis. So unless Season Gaming is footing the bill.
with all that Season Gaming money.
Yeah, that sweet Season Gaming looper.
Get IGN. Look, come on.
We just got another €2 super chat. I think there's enough super chat money in the bank at this point.
Yeah. That's
£2. Send the gang to Germany.
We haven't drawn a single paycheck. I think we can afford this, guys. We're good. We should go. I'd love to hang out with you guys in Germany.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
We can see what Hope smells like. That'd be nice. What does he smell like?
Like a person?
He could smell like anything. He could smell like lavender. Maybe he uses like a nice lavender spray over. We don't know. We'll never know unless we go to Germany and smell Hoag.
If you really want to smell Hoag, it's a slightly shorter trip to Michigan, but we can do that in Germany too, I guess.
I guess that's a good point.
By the way, Hoag, you've got people saying yes, you can stay in Wuppertal, Germany. I don't know if I pronounced that properly or not, but yeah.
Well, I appreciate the extension of invitations, folks. We'll see what I can do to do Gamescom at some point.
Yeah.
It'll give me a chance to practice my German, which I don't get to use a ton. Be good. Let's go, guys.
Fair enough. All right. Let's wrap up the Gamescom conversation. We got just one super chat to get to.
DS offers £2 to say, can't wait to see what XB games are coming to PS5.
Yeah, so that was one of the rumors this week. Well, not rumors, but kind of announcements, if you will, for the most part, to say that one of the major kind of first-party titles from Xbox is going to get announced as coming to PlayStation this week. There's been a lot of debate with the insiders as to what game it's going to be. So we will see definitively here in a couple of days. So
cool.
That's it. Yeah. I kind of put it in our notes. I was like, supposedly you can see in the notes. I said, major Xbox game on PlayStation. Does anyone here actually care? Not really.
Nope. Bring it on.
Enjoy the game. We'll see what it is. Fair enough.
Cool. I think it is noteworthy if they do bring one over, that it suggests that what we have been able to see publicly with respect to the Xbox games on PlayStation seemingly doing well, right? They're up top at the best sellers list in the store, that kind of thing, is going to result in Xbox bringing more games over. Like, it was clear that they had kind of a phased strategy to see how it works, dip your toe in and then jump in. And so if they do announce something significant coming over to PlayStation, I do think that's worthy of discussion as Microsoft really going all in on a kind of multi-platform strategy.
I think
for sure
they're going to use it. They're going to start pushing their games onto the PlayStation platform to lower PlayStation's reputation in the games market. So the next one they're going to do is that vampire game. They're going to put that on PlayStation, make PlayStation players play that game. What's that game called again?
Redfall.
You're going to put Redfall on PlayStation, and then everybody will be like, wow, PlayStation games are bad. And they'll just keep doing that. So it's a great strategy. What do you think, guys?
I think you are baiting because you are a troll. But that is certainly.
What if that was the game? What if that was the game? It's a possibility.
Redfall.
It could be Redfall did have some effort put into it after it released, so it's
put that on the box art.
Hey, I am a defender of Redfall. I'm not saying it's amazing, but
no, I mean, the problem with Redfall, I've said this. I've popped into Redfall a couple times. The problem with Redfall for me is that even when it's okay, it always feels like I could be doing something more interesting with my time. And for Redfall on my Xbox, it's usually I could be playing Dead Island 2. Like, I will have more fun playing that if I want to run around a relatively semi-open world and kill undead.
Dead Island 2 is a good game. Yes, it is.
Dead Island 2 just had a new story expansion come out that I am eager to get to.
Nice.
I reviewed some of those expansions, but I think interest kind of dropped off on that one.
Tailed off, yeah. to Hope's point on this, yeah. So that's why I wasn't going to talk about, because I don't want to talk about rumors and speculation here. So next week, when assuming a game gets announced coming to PlayStation 5, we'll discuss it then. But I'm not just going to speculate for 20 minutes.
Sounds good.
So thank you, DS, for the super chat. Appreciate you. All right. With that, shout out to Riskit, who's at Gamescom. So I hope you have a great time there, my friend. Okay, so this week we got a couple other games we want to talk about. So Black Myth Wukong comes out in 2 days as well, same day as early access of Concord. We got the reviews.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was jumping right on you, Ains. What else you got?
I love it when you jump on Ains.
Prepare the pump. Yeah. So we got the early reviews are out. It's averaging an 82 on OpenCritic. Basically, the commentary around this game seems to be it's very good. It's a boss rush game where the letdowns of the game are technical hiccups or unpolished, problems, optimization issues, as well as the general world or open world or the world segments not being as interesting as they could be as compared to the boss battles. I was going to hand to you a little bit, Travis, because was it Mitch or Tom? Who reviewed this for IGN? Mitch. Okay. So I believe you had some commentary from Mitch on this game that you can touch on a little more.
Yeah. So obviously I was not involved in this review, but just talking with the team and people who played it, it seems like it's very good, but is held back by a ton of issues, technical issues and bugs and that sort of thing. And so the quote I was given that kind of I took away from the conversation was, it kind of reminds me of Cyberpunk 2077, where you're like, man, this is really cool. This could have been a big game changer, but the technical issues are so bad that it kind of feels like it might not be good yet. Might be one of those games that's good in a year, or that's better in a year. And so it wasn't a 9 or a 10, but it was still a very high praise for like when it works. When it works, it's like easily a 9 or a 10, but it just doesn't work consistently enough. And so that was the concern there. So yeah, if you can put up with kind of the rough edges at the beginning, sounds like it might be good. And if you can't, my suggestion would probably be to wait until those have been smoothed over and then come and play. And then it sounds like you're in for a really damn good time. The combat looked really good. Mitchell was sharing some clips of himself playing, and he's very good at capturing gameplay. So that kind of got me.
Am I right in thinking that no one has played the console version at all?
Correct. So
they only sent review codes for PC.
Yeah, not to get too insidery, but like the whole review process has been very weird. I would describe it as like amateurish, and maybe that's just the virtue of whatever.
Is this their very first game, this company?
I believe it is for Game Science, and they also, correct me if I'm wrong, Travis, but didn't they try to do like the PR themselves? Like,
okay, so this is extremely insidery, but like there's just been some issues with their whole PR approach. Like they basically tried to control how long people's reviews could be, and they really tamped down on like what you can show. They offered no console codes and only on PC, and they just have one of those like very convoluted embargoes to the point where IGN was basically like, we're not gonna, like, we pushed back on it in a bunch of different ways. We're like, we're not gonna follow these rules, and if that means you don't give us a code, then that's fine. So it's just one of those. This happens sometimes. Nintendo does it sometimes, where it's just like so convoluted it kind of gets in the way of actually, like, it's okay to have embargo stuff to protect your game and not show things that you don't want to get shown, but when you cross the line into controlling how reviewers are allowed to talk about your game, it goes a little bit too far. And I think this has kind of crossed that in certain areas. And so there's been a lot of like back and forth on this. The problem with embargoes like that is it erodes trust between the media and the game developer, because the media doesn't like to feel like there's a chance that the developer's trying to obfuscate or hide something about the game. And that's what it feels like sometimes, especially when you don't have access to like platforms and that sort of thing. It's kind of like, okay, well, what's going on with that version of the game? Like, why can't we see it? And I think it ends up raising more questions when you have embargoes that are this convoluted, because it makes all the people reviewing the game going, okay, but why is the embargo like that? And they're kind of looking around to try to figure out what the deal is. And so, yeah, this one to me is like a big please wait until like the week after the game is out at the very least. That's kind of my that's going to be my approach just based on what I've seen about this process, and that would be my advice to anybody else. Again, as somebody who has not played the game and is really just looking at this as somebody who's just kind of seeing the noise around it, and that would be my advice.
Yeah.
Well, there was some noise that they were having difficulty bringing it to consoles. Anyway, right? Like, didn't the Xbox version get delayed or canceled?
It got delayed by 6 months minimum. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I got the PR email to Travis's point back from them this week, and it just the whole communication aspect was odd. And I'm like, you might have heard me say a couple weeks ago, I'll probably be reviewing this one, and I'm not now. I'm going to review Concord instead. Because it's just, to Travis's point, it's like, yeah, I'm going to play Black Myth on PC here on Tuesday at launch, but I fully expect either some issues or to just wait. So I'll just play Concord until Black Myth is better, but we'll see. It's definitely a weird problem. It's one of the weirder things I've seen in my inbox, and we're a small outlet. Like, we obviously can't push back like IGN can to say, we're not going to follow your rules, right? So I was just like, I just won't review it. It's not any skin off my back.
Like one of the rules was like, oh, your review can't be longer than 10 minutes. Not that you can't show more than 10 minutes of footage. That's normal. But it's like, they put a length on like how long the review is. And it's like, no. It was one of the things IGN was just like, we're not going to do that. Like, you can't tell us how long our review is allowed to be. We just won't agree on the embargo if that's how you want to play it. So there's just weird stuff like that. And some of it is nitpicky and like not things players should care about, because I don't think players should care about whether IGN's allowed to make a 10-minute video or longer.
Sure.
But some of the stuff is like legitimately like, okay, players probably should care about some of the stuff they're saying we're not allowed to show, or the fact that the console versions are completely, we don't know what they're like. So just approach this one with a little caution would be my advice.
Yeah, and when we were doing scores last week, that was basically where you had suggested you were at last week, right? Which is, we don't know technical performance here. You hadn't seen the embargoes at the time, presumably, but it feels like that kind of game. It feels like a game that has some stuff in it. It has some stuff to be excited about, but maybe is worth waiting a little bit for.
Yeah, it's a shame, because this was one of, if not my most anticipated games of the year. I always knew, coming from kind of a new studio and unknown, and showing only certain things, you always kind of have, we've done this long enough to know there's some red flags, right? But to Travis's point, it still sounds like an excellent game. It just has some maybe rough edges, or they didn't handle it too well. So we'll see. I'm going to try it on Tuesday. If it needs time to be polished or whatever, okay, there's plenty of other games. That doesn't really bother me that bad, honestly.
I will say I read the IGN review, and like I always recommend to folks, don't just take the number, read the review, because there are things that you'll care about that maybe the reviewer didn't care about, and certainly vice versa. There's stuff that you won't care about that maybe was really bothering them, and you can better analyze what that number is at the bottom of the article. But in this particular case, one of the things that put me off this game was that Mitch actually has a paragraph or two that talks about essentially that the game is bad at storytelling, that it takes as its position that kind of the basic large-scale facts of this particular Chinese novel. And so that Mitch was actually looking up names in the Wikipedia and things to make the instances make more sense. I've seen in certain games before, but that's the kind of thing that would bother the heck out of me when I'm playing a video game. And obviously I'm story focused. We know that about me. But like, as soon as I saw those paragraphs, I'm like, that's not going to work for me. Even if you have really cool stick combat or whatever it is that you like about it. Obviously it's graphically impressive in parts. But if you're interested in story and narrative, it does seem like this particular game developer either assumed your knowledge or just didn't kind of present the story in a way that is most easily accessible by somebody that's playing it for the first time. Yeah.
Well, I think it's a smaller developer too, so that's maybe where they cut corners. They wanted to focus on graphics and presentation, and can only do so much. I did run one thing I did like that they did. So they on Steam they have a benchmark tool, so you can install the base foundation of the game right now and benchmark on your PC. So my benchmark settings are really strong, so I'm hoping it runs great without issue. But again, we'll see. By the way, you reminded me, Hogue, because I actually forgot we made open critic guesses on all these games last week, and I took the Black Myth one. Hogue, you said 85. Travis, you said 80. I said 81. So I did the one-upper on you, Travis, and got it by 1 point because it was 82. So I've got one in the bag. We've got Concord this week. We've got Outlaws the following week. So, and then we've got Visions of Mana and Astrobot and Space Marine 2 to come yet, but we'll revisit. So, the other game that was shown this week, which another one I'm really excited for, and the release date is sooner than I expected. So even more excited now is the Plucky Squire.
Yes.
So the Volver Digital published game. Yeah, I think they showed it originally last year, and it really kind of caught people's attention because of the presentation of the game and kind of the cutesy nature that turned into like this 2D platformer on a page. You know, the artistic style of it is very unique. It's releasing September 17th, so it's just a month away at this point.
Speaking of them,
looks great.
Did you guys see Cult of the Lamb got a update where it's now multiplayer?
I did.
I did.
That looks cool. I want to play that. D and I have been making
great
plans
game
to
too.
This
Another great game. Yeah. But yeah, Plucky Squire. So coming a month from now, looks fantastic. And they even, for the weirdos like me, they even announced that they're making physical editions. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, Plucky Squire is one to get excited about. And was it only last year when it was announced? I thought it was like 2 years ago. But it's been a weird couple of years. So,
yeah, I thought it was last year. I could certainly be wrong. Yep.
So Plucky Squire is awesome. September 17th is right in that like 10-day Astrobot window. So it's like family gaming, platforming, very exciting. In the middle of September, that's going to be a lot of fun. Like the hits don't stop coming just at the end of August here. We've got a long period of time where there's a lot of good games for a lot of different genres, right? If you want to purge the Xenos in Space Marine, you can. If you want to be a Plucky Squire, you can as well. And it's going to be a fun fall, I think, for video games.
Yeah, it's too much. Crazy. So as we said this week, we already touched on this, but Kingdom Come Deliverance was delayed to February 11th. We'll see more of it this week at Gamescom. Hugely pumped for that one. The other thing that got delayed this week was Replaced. So Replaced is the I know I got to see it at Summer Game Fest. I think I joked on here or mentioned that I was recording footage of it off screen, and then they were like, "Oh, you can't do that." I was like, "Oh, okay." But it looks really, really cool in motion, and I think it was Ryan, right, McCaffrey at IGN that got to play, and he's got a 13-minute video up on IGN of new footage of Replaced. If you want to see more of it, that's the type of game I don't want to see it. I'll just play it when it comes out.
I'm really looking forward to Replaced.
Yeah, it's really cool looking in motion. And so, you know, the early previews from Summer Game Fest were very strong. And it's one of those where it's just like, take your time. Small team, focus game, you know, make it the best it can be. There's no date, by the way, on the announcement. They just said, we'll get cut to the chase. It's coming out next year. So
sick.
That's all they said. Yeah.
It is, in fact, sick, Travis. I agree.
All right. Before we talk about Dragon Age, let's get Riskit's super chat here.
Risk It for the Biscuit offers $8 in Australia land to write
Those
the
are
real
Bluey
news.
Bucks?
What's that?
Bluey Bucks.
Aussie Bucks.
Kangaroo Bucks.
The real news will be crazy Australian takes on Gamescom security after they tried to remove him from the Space Marine 2 booth. I think he's
still
trying
an
to say
English
both.
Word. It's just not booth.
Yeah, I think he's trying to say booth is my point.
Yes.
Australians now banned.
Which the chat went crazy, and he admitted that he was joking. He was making a joke about not wanting to leave the Space Marine 2 booth.
Yeah. I know he's hugely pumped for Space Marine 2, as am I. And the previews of the game sound excellent, like we talked about last week. So they do have a booth at Gamescom. They're going to obviously show it off this week. It launches in, 3 weeks now? 3.5 weeks, something like that. So it should be awesome. I can't wait. But thank you, Risk It. Hope you're having a great time there, man. Shame I couldn't make it out. Hopefully we'll get together again next year. So appreciate you. All right.
So is the floor at Gamescom open right now? I mean, is it happening right now?
It opens...
I don't think so. I think tomorrow, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe Risk It can say. I saw people posting pictures of the building today, like visiting it, but I don't think it's open.
Okay.
But yeah, for those who don't know, it is like I was talking to a developer because I haven't been, but I was talking to a developer. I think they said it's like 8 different wings, and there's over 400,000 people that go through. So I'm sure everyone's going to be sick next week. Yeah, it's supposedly like insanely large. 21st, he said it opens. So I guess, yeah, that makes sense because I guess it doesn't open until Wednesday because Tuesday night is Keeley's thing, and then it probably opens Wednesday for everyone. So,
okay,
there you go.
Well, have fun. Don't let security get you down.
I don't know. Risk it, man. I'd put some money on Risk It in that battle. So, all right. So this week we did get Dragon Age Veilguard's release date, which is Halloween of all dates. So October 31st for Dragon Age Veilguard. It actually leaked like an hour before they were going to announce it. So they just went ahead and announced it. They announced all their editions of the game. So all those details are on SG or other sites if you want to check them out, because they have a regular, they have a deluxe, they have those collector's packages, they have art books, they have all kinds of stuff already ready to go for this one to market it. But they also released like a 3-minute story trailer to go along with the release date, which obviously had some homages to characters and other things in the Dragon Age universe. So I'm going to start with you, Hogue, because you've been rather critical of Veilguard, I would say, to date, because Dragon Age fan, but really weren't feeling it after I think we all mostly agree the original reveal at the Xbox showcase wasn't great, but I have warmed up on it a lot since then. I think you were still a little behind me. How you feeling after this trailer?
Well, I go way back with Dragon Age. I love Origins. When Origins was originally being marketed and sold to us, it was BioWare trying to go back to some of their roots with respect to Baldur's Gate. And I didn't like kind of some of the moves that they made in the Dragon Age universe, certainly with 2, which I think they got rushed on by their publisher. Inquisition was a game that I think like won the default game of the year that year because it wasn't a great year for video games, but that I never really loved that much. And then the reveal for this game was that kind of Fortnite Borderlands 3 boss video of the characters in the game. But I did like the gameplay they showed a little bit more. I don't love the choices they made with the graphical direction of Dragon Age Veilguard. So I'm not ever going to be kind of on the purple and glossy side of things here. But with that as a given, because I can't change the graphics of the game, there are things that they've shown that look pretty cool, right? Like some of the combat they showed in that tactics video looks cool. I was not as impressed by the story video that released to show the date as some were, because it does have a lot of that remember this quality to it that I associate with kind of bad legacy movies now at this point, which is remember Morgan, remember all this stuff. And it's like, well, yeah.
Nostalgia play.
But I hope that you have more than just, you like these characters 2 decades ago. I hope you like them now. And I'm still not convinced that current BioWare is capable of making something that hits me like their Dragon Age games did, like Knights of the Old Republic, like Jade Empire. And I'm hopeful for it. I'm rooting for them on this, but it'll have to be a kind of prove it to me version of hype. I am not preparing the pump.
Yeah, I'm definitely higher on it. I totally agree with you and see where you're coming from, because the BioWare that we knew and loved is long gone. So we don't know truly if this is going to live up to those very, very high expectations of what we would call the classic BioWare titles. But I do like, taking that aside, if you can, I do really like what they've shown so far. I like the gameplay that I've seen. I liked kind of the art direction I've warmed up to since the trailer. I agree with you on the trailer. Since I've seen it in motion in the gameplay, I like it a lot more. It's an interesting choice, if nothing else. It's definitely different, but I am warming up to it. But I'm really excited about this one. I think it's coming at a good time. I don't think, we'll see where Indiana Jones and some other games land, but late October into early November is usually good. That's usually Call of Duty land, which I'm not too worried about. So I'll definitely take
for the
Dragon
RPG
Age
players in me. I think it's a little close to Metaphor for me, but
it is a Metaphor, and Assassin's Creed Shadows comes out 2 weeks later on November 15th.
Which in my
little
head
different.
doesn't go in the RPG bucket. I know there are RPG elements to Assassin's Creed, but
Sure. I'm more thinking about big games that are going to take a lot of your time type thing. So we'll see.
I
I'm
probably won't be
excited
done
for it.
with Outlaws by the time Veilguard comes out. So
I will still be playing Miles Edgeworth Investigations.
there you go.
So, Travis, where are you on this, man?
I will play this game. I have a very good chance, a very good feeling that I will not be covering it in any sense. And when that happens, I usually try to remove myself from everything. So I've seen nothing on this game except for that initial reveal, which like Hogue, I was like, okay, it's a little bit of a different vibe, but I'll give him a chance. And I know that they've released a bunch of info since then that seems cool. I'm also worried about the nostalgia stuff a little bit, but I don't know. I would disagree that the BioWare we knew and loved is gone. I mean, they had one game that didn't do well, Anthem, and then the last game they made before that was Andromeda, which had issues, but it was still kind of them doing their core thing. So I still believe the studio has it in them. They've just been MIA because they've been working on games that have not materialized. So,
I think more the reason some of us say that, right, is a lot of those leaders and the people that were there are gone too.
I don't think that's what makes a studio at all. I think that what makes a studio is the legacy and the type of games they like to make, and the way that they recruit people is by saying, "Hey, you like these types of games? Come make them." So I think the legacy of the studio matters more than the actual people that are in it, or the people that defined it in the past. So I think you can still have an identity as a studio even if people have swapped out. And I think they do have that identity.
I
think
just
they
like to
make
put on the record that I could not possibly disagree with Travis more on this.
Well,
and as usual, I'm like in the middle.
I don't know if you have the same relationship with game studios that I do, but like when you go and see a studio that has completely changed their staff and their leadership, but they're still all very passionate about those types of games and they honor the legacy of those studios. The name of a studio,
but a studio is its people. A company is its people. And I can understand what you're saying with respect to they hired and tried to build on what the history of the company is. And that's important. I'm not saying it's not important. I'm saying when we talk about creative pursuits, when we talk about game companies or movie studios or anything else, it is actually people there making the thing. It is not the lion that roars at you at the front of the MGM logo that actually gets the thing into your hands.
Sure, but those games are made using philosophies that and mission statements and culture that stays when people leave. If usually, I mean, don't get me wrong, cultures can change. They can change for the worse and they can change for the better. They can evolve. Sure. But a lot of times, if it's a company that's doing things right, they will have take Bungie, for example. Their leadership has changed a bunch of times, but you still know a Bungie made game when you see it, right? Because they hired people that wanted to make Bungie games. And I think BioWare has been less successful in that transition, but I still think there's a whole lot of people there that live and die by the principles that the studio was founded on. And I think that matters. I think it really matters. Obviously, the games are made by people, but I think if those people are endeavoring to make the same types of games using the same methodology, then that does matter as well. So I'd say both things matter, but I don't think.
But games are made by people. Yeah. I want to make sure that we understand that entirely. And sure. I would say that the legacy of BioWare for any kind of near-term understanding is Inquisition, Andromeda, and Anthem, and certainly not going back to Baldur's Gate, but not even the Jade Empire, Knights of the Old Republic era. So, like, I want them to be that. Does not mean that they will be that with this. It's much more likely that they'll be closer to what they released with Inquisition and Andromeda than before that. So that's why I say you got to tell me that I'm going to like what you are making now.
The last game they made was technically Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Yes, remasters of the games from their golden era.
Come on, you know that doesn't count.
I mean, I think it shows that that's the type of game they want to make, which is important, right? I mean, they released that game. If they didn't want to make those types of games, would they put it out? I think it speaks at least a little bit to it. So my point is, I just don't like it when people say, "Oh, it doesn't matter. It's not the same people," because I think people who say that don't understand how studios work. And I've just been been very close to too many studios to know that that's just not how it works. So I can't say whether or not BioWare will succeed at what they're trying to do, but I can tell you full-throatedly that they are trying to make the types of games that studio has made.
Full-throatedly.
What I would like to say in response to your initial statement on this is that my biggest disagreement is the notion that you can discount to zero that important people in leadership left the company, right? You can't discount it that far. You can say, okay, there are structures in place to keep institutional knowledge and direction for the ship, but it matters that the captain's left.
I think sometimes the importance of the captains leaving is overstated because they typically aren't the ones making the game, really, on the ground floor.
Depends on the captain, honestly.
It really does. It depends on the captain. It depends on the culture and the structure of the studio. But I think sometimes people overinflate the importance of single people leaving because typically when they build a team, they build it with a specific strategy, and that legacy carries over even as people change. But
yeah, I'm a little in between both of you, but that's fine. We can agree to disagree on that one. Let's do this. We know it's coming on October 31st. It's 2 months and what? I don't know, 10 weeks from now. Let's give our score predictions. Dragon Age Veilguard, the return of BioWare, one of their key marquee franchises. They've been working on it for years. Where does this land? 83.
I'm going to go 80 on the nose.
Okay.
Yeah, after that whole conversation, I'm more optimistic than you.
To be fair,
that did take me back a little bit. That's pretty funny.
There's a big difference between thinking that the studio is going to maintain their legacy, and I mean, I would put like a lot of BioWare games at an 8. You know what I mean? I think I have a harsher grading curve, or at least I think that other people are going to have harsher grading curves than we anticipate. It's playing a different game is my point.
I'll be the overly optimistic one on this then. I'll say 86.
Good. 86 would be great. I really hope.
Yeah, 86 would be surprising, but I'm going to have some.
But I mean, the fact that we're all at 80 plus, doesn't that mean that we have some faith in the studio that they're going to deliver?
No, I'm playing the game you are, Travis. I have some faith in the gaming reviewing class being swayed by BioWare's legacy and some shiny purple colors.
Yeah, I don't think those things matter as much to the reviewing class, quote unquote, which doesn't actually exist, by the way. In the
you only say that because you're paid by the publisher. Come on.
Well, it's because I know reviewers are guys like you and me, Ains, who are just normal people with no special credentials or master's degrees in interpreting video games. So
are we not?
People who say that are just used to like movie reviewers, where there actually is a movie review class where they're very different than an average viewing audience. But in games, there's not really a difference. They're just regular people.
So the audience seems to be 70s to 80s as well. I'd say 70s to low 80s. So we'll see. I will, like I said before, now that we have a release date, once we get close to that, maybe in October, we'll invite to see if Mark wants to join us again to talk about the impending release of the game. And Shush also pointed out, Mark Dara from BioWare, by the way. And Shush also pointed out that IGN, Travis, is doing the September 1st for Dragon Age, starting on September 3rd. So
I was gonna give that a shout out, but yeah, we secured Dragon Age Veilguard as IGN first, and we have month-long coverage starting early September and going until the end of the month with a hands-on preview as our
grand finale.
Grand finale. That's right. Yeah.
Cool.
So that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. All right. I think that is going to wrap us up for today, boys. So looking forward to Gamescom this week. Looking forward to starting this string of games. I'm looking forward to jumping into Concord with you guys. And Alex and Eric and Bert and all the other people who are getting it with us. So it should be fun. Looking forward to it.
Hell yeah.
I'm pumped about Concord. I do want to shout out that Firewalk and PlayStation maybe put out a developer video on the creation and kind of design philosophies behind Concord, which I really liked and thought was useful. So if you're at all interested in Concord and you haven't otherwise been poisoned by the various hate crusades against the game, which we don't need to get into, it's a very cool video of guys just talking about what they were thinking when they developed the like hero system and the mid round changes and things that they're using in Concord. And I think the tweet that I made about that video when it was put out earlier this week was that I am falling in love with these guys at Firewalk. Like they are thinking about things in an interesting way. They're implementing the things that they're thinking about. And that's what I love to see from game developers. And I'm obviously enthused about this game. I enjoyed the beta quite a lot. I hope it does not smash against the negativity wall, and that people at least give it a try if they're at all interested in it. Obviously, if you're not interested in it at all, you're probably not going to like it. But if it seems remotely interesting to you, I found that the actual gameplay is good. The over strategic thinking that went into making this particular hero shooter is good and interesting. And I really like that video, and I wanted to call it out for people that are interested in Concord.
Yeah, it's a good call. It's about 6 minutes. They actually mentioned in there that there is, their plan, because it's a paid game, is to include, all the hundreds of unlockables and challenges and everything within the game, as well as the free content to come, such as new characters, maps, modes, etc. They mentioned there is no battle pass in this game. So all those are good things. I know I'm in the minority. I know the market dictates that these audiences require free to play and many, many factors. I understand that. For me personally, I like that this is a paid game with the content included in it, and they will have a cosmetic store optionally. Now we'll have to see how that's handled and what's in there and how much it is. We'll cover that in the future. But yeah, I like the approach of taking at launch anyway. So I wish him the best in that sense. One thing I did forget to mention, which Nissa, shout out to Nissa. Tango. I don't know why I didn't have that on the notes. I'm sorry about that. So Tango Gameworks saved this week by Krafton, the well-known publisher developer of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, or PUBG. So including most of that studio now, they are shifting resources around a little bit. They're moving, like I think they said 30 or so of the Tango resources to Krafton's Japanese division to work on other games. They haven't really said what they're working on, but they basically are keeping Tango alive, obviously, and bringing those people on board. And also they got the rights to Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, it sounds like they split the IP, right? You only announce it that way if the IP was split, because otherwise you buy Tango, you get their IP. It's a really interesting kind of thing. It suggests to me an error on Microsoft management's part. In general, if you've got an asset of some value that you think you can shop around, you don't kill it first and then figure out how to sell it later, because there's a certain operational value to having the whole unit move. And this seems like they rethought what direction they were going to go, or Krafton showed up with a big check phone call to Microsoft on this. But I do think that it's a good thing for people that liked their intellectual property. I like Ghostwire. I like Hi-Fi Rush. I just wouldn't expect it to be operating as Tango and releasing games on a frequent cadence for at least some time, because they did not kind of collect a fully functional studio. They really more hired developers to move around into their own organizational structure. So it's a cool story. I'm glad it happened. I am happy for the people that didn't lose their jobs or got their jobs back as part of this deal. But it's not as clean as it could have been if it were an operational entity sold in a traditional acquisition. Yeah,
agreed. It was definitely a weird thing to see this week, but a good thing in theory, right?
Yeah.
Something I was happy to see. And I know Josh, the head of the studio after Shinji left, I was obviously very excited as well. And, if we see more Hi-Fi Rush, great, fantastic. So, it was cool to see. So, Nissa, thank you for reminding me of that. I'm sorry we didn't cover that sooner, but good shout out.
Also worth noting, and somebody did write this in the comments, that the other Tango IPs are still owned by Microsoft.
Yes, just Hi-Fi Rush went with it. I think was Hoag's point, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, that was the one that jumped out at me when I saw the press release, which is you don't even mention which IP is going over if it's all of them.
Yeah.
And so the fact that it got split up is also suggestive of a kind of after the fact course correction type acquisition.
They probably were surprised that there was interest in buying an IP that only has one entry in it and is still a smaller game on the grand scheme of things. But it's probably a pleasant surprise for them.
It doesn't feel like Microsoft even tried to shop Tango before they closed it. So I think that's probably where the second guessing comes into play here. But yeah, it's
I don't know.
good news.
Does Microsoft shop anything that before they close it? I think they just close things, right? They're kind of like Google. Google doesn't sell their parts either. They just like close departments. So.
Every good strategic manager of a company with separated intellectual property like this at least checks out what they think the market value of something will be. So this strikes me as unexpected from Microsoft's side, right? Like that's a nice call you get from Krafton probably, but it would have been easier, would have been more valuable to do it in one slice before you close the studio.
You're saying
as I understand it from the news stories, there are a bunch of people that obviously got fired and got new jobs.
You think Google tried to shop around Stadia before they closed it, for example? You know,
No,
I don't think these companies even try. I think they just like they try stuff, and then if it doesn't work out, they shut it. And like selling it isn't kind of their playbook.
Do I think that they entertain some calls with other tech companies about whether they would be interested in purchasing Stadia? Yes. That is the nature of the strategic business acquisitions job. Like these people are calling each other all the time.
Because they never, I don't think, do we have any examples of like Google selling one of their units that they closed?
I don't know.
They always just close it?
Well, that might be indicative of the value that the tech industry feels about their closed projects, but it doesn't mean that they didn't try. And certainly, when I say shop, it's not like there's a marketplace of defunct companies that you put up and it's an Amazon for acquisitions. It's really having phone calls and connections and lunch meetings with people that are in a similar position to you in different companies. So I think Microsoft, well, they certainly didn't connect with Krafton, right? Because this is not the way this would have gone down if they knew Krafton cared about Tango. But it didn't look to me, certainly with the kind of rapidity of how it happened, that they had tried to shop it much at all, because it was a surprise to everybody. That you would think if they did try to shop it, and maybe this is one of the reasons Microsoft didn't, is that's the kind of thing that leaks out pretty easily. That they're trying to move Tango, and they would be potentially concerned about that. But I do think, and I'm generally of a pretty positive stripe towards the way Microsoft's operated in the last couple of years with the way they've used their assets in the company, that this does feel to me from the outside, 30,000 feet speculative, I'm not in the room, as there was a mistake made at management level as to what the value of these assets actually were.
Yeah. It's interesting, if nothing else. So anyway, glad for the people who get to keep their jobs. Hopefully we see, something with Hi-Fi Rush. I know, the people who really adored that. I'll still hold out hope. Probably, it's never going to happen, but I'd still love to see some more Evil Within at some point, but who knows?
That might happen.
We'll see. I want to shout out Debbie W, good old Debbie Dubs, gifting 5 season gaming memberships as we head out here for the day. Debbie, you're awesome. Thank you so much. And
another dub from Debbie Dubs herself.
Thank you, Debbie.
Dubs, full of dubs. I know she's probably looking forward to World of Warcraft War Within this week, so that should be exciting. Thank you, Debbie. And then we get a member comment to close us out.
MZ has been a member for 22 months, and he says, fabulous to catch you all on this live. Upward thumb, thanks.
4-leaf
clover. I don't think that's 4-leaf.
It is on YouTube. It looks weird on ours for some reason.
Yeah, it does look weird. But anyway, it's a clover. Making a list some of your key recommendations to try out and play.
And play.
Oh yeah, dude.
MZ, thank you very much for being a member. Appreciate you. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Hogue, I'll start with you this week because I saw you actually did a video this week.
I actually did a video, and I like the incredulousness of that particular character.
Because I haven't done one in a long time, so I'm trying to give you credit that you did one.
I did. If any of you saw a news item about Disney Plus trying to get out of a wrongful death allergy lawsuit in Florida based on somebody entering into a free trial for the Disney Plus streaming service, I did a video on it because it's about Disney and technology and terms of service. And I thought, you know what? I can add to the conversation about this particular news item. And I think it went very well. Check out that video on my channel. It's the latest Hangouts and Headlines because it is a little bit less legally intensive than a traditional virtual legality. But if you're interested in that conversation, we do go into it and why it is both more and less crazy than that news headline would have you believe. So please do check that out. I'm also on the newest Last Stand Media Constellation episode, which I don't think is out yet, but if you're interested in hearing me discuss random things like mythology and folklore and other topics, I will be on that episode at Last Stand Media that I think comes out publicly in the next couple days. So check that out. Doing more constellations over there as one of their main contributors has had to go to the real world and do a little bit more work. But check those out. It was a busy week for me, nice. And I am tired, and I'm going to take a nap after this video. So
hell yeah.
There you go.
Fair enough. Travis.
My week was energizing, and I'm going to take a jog after this video. just a stunt on Hogue and his elderly ways.
Well, I got to get to level 30 on my hardcore character. I know that.
Yeah, you got to do that before or after the nap. What are you thinking, order of operations wise?
I feel like I should nap before I get to the Diablo hardcore.
Just make sure you don't play Diablo hardcore and then accidentally take a nap, because you will get your character killed, and that's no good.
At 29, please. Thank you.
At 29. So this week I've got the Concord review to work on. I need to figure out how I'm going to play that in a different city and maybe hotel. So I'll figure that out. Oh, that's a good point. Okay, I got to figure that out. I'll figure it out. But yeah, I'm going to do that, and then I did a preview for Splitgate 2 this week.
Nice.
That everybody can check out. Yeah, so I played a couple hours, 4 hours or so of Splitgate 2. I've got a lot of thoughts on it. It's got some cool improvements to the original game. My headline for the article was something to the effect of like, it is an incremental evolution, but not really a revolution on the formula. And so it kind of plays it safe with some of its improvements, but not changing too much. So if you liked the first Splitgate, this is Splitgate, but noticeably better. But if you were hoping for like a massive step up or a bunch of changes, they kind of just stuck to their original formula for the most part. But it is better. It from what I played, it is much better. So check that out. That's live right now on IGN and YouTube, I believe. And this week doing the Concord review.
Nice. Yeah, so same. I'll be on Concord this week. So we'll obviously talk a lot more about that next week.
I will be bringing the Bitcast team's win-loss down. I guarantee it.
We'll carry you, no problem. Big backpacks. We have a pretty damn good crew anyway. If we get all of us together, there's a talented shooter crew. So we'll be fine. What was that first night we played the beta? We went 8-0.
We didn't.
You did. You told me you went 8-0, and I was like, I can change that.
I mean, we got close, but then whenever we were losing, we put on our sweat goggles and we were just like, "Let's go, guys, let's go!" And then we just turned it around. So
yeah, Joe's good, Eric's good, so yeah, we'll be fine. What was I going to say? And then, like I said, Alex is doing Outlaws. I'll have impressions on Wukong as well. That's going to be a good one. I know him and I debated. I think I'm going to do Shadows, and he's doing Outlaws. I was like, man, I kind of want to do Outlaws, but that's fine. Anyway, so that'll be it. More reviews coming this week, of course. And just a thank you again to everyone who's been engaging with us. Like I said at the top of the show, the numbers have been crazy for us this past month at SG. So thank you. If you enjoy the show, obviously, as you know, goes without saying, just give it a like, share it out.
If you didn't enjoy the show, give it a hate like.
Well, give it a dislike. YouTube honestly doesn't care. If you hit a button, it is helpful. Tickle YouTube buttons.
Hit buttons.
I think I just figured out IGN's entire business model.
Well, I will tell you, having operated a channel for a number of years now, that even the videos that like people just are downvoting, which are not frequent, but like they just don't like something that I'm saying, those get the same bump as if they had hit likes.
It's all coming together now. I realize why you guys put me on the show. I realize why they have. I'm just a dislike.
Don't tell them
generator.
our secrets. Don't tell them.
Oh my god! It's just for the dislikes. That's why I'm here.
Figured it out. All right. As always, I hope everyone has a good week of gaming. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next week with more game talk. As always. Until then.